Hi, everyone.
I'm Kylie.
And I'm Corey.
And we are
Lit Libations.
Welcome, welcome.
This is our 13th episode.
Holy shnikes.
And we're doing Circe, and I'm so nervous.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah.
It's very niche.
I would say Greek mythology. It's Greek mythology.
Which, listen, I am a hoe for Greek mythology. for shizzle, right?
Yeah.
And I do feel like a lot of people... Why did I say for shizzle? I'm so sorry.
I don't know.
Never listen to that again.
We'll edit that out. I'm just kidding.
But I love Greek mythology. I think a lot of people do because maybe like Percy Jackson created like a huge push for it. I don't know.
I did read Percy Jackson, so I did recognize some of the names.
Yeah.
And also this season of Fortnite has some Greek mythology in it.
Oh.
Yeah, they have the Olympians, they have the underworld, so they have Hades and Cerberus.
Yeah.
And Aphrodite.
Yeah.
She's in there. And Ares. And that's all I can remember.
I do love Aphrodite. Athena is probably one of my favorite Greek goddesses. She's the goddess of war and like other things as well. I don't even know off the top of my head, but I just know specifically goddess of war.
Okay.
So, and she's a bad bitch. Like
Athena.
Listen, but to be fair, like let's preface this really quickly. The gods and the Titans, the Olympians and the Titans in general, like this is fairly well known. They all suck. Like even Athena, like they all suck.
That's all. That's what I got out of this so far.
Yeah.
Everyone sucks.
And it's constantly just like they're immortal, so it's just like feuding constantly and consistently.
It's horrible.
It's so bad. So I'll start.
Oh wait, what are we drinking?
Oh yeah. We are drinking mango margarita. Jose Cuervo, ready to drink.
Heck yeah.
And I love this always because it's like not crazy expensive and it's ready to drink.
Yeah.
Just like 2 easy steps if you want to blend it with ice, or 1 easy step if you just want to literally pour it in a glass.
That's what we did.
Jose Cuervo. Buy it today. Jose Cuervo, if you see this and you think, oh, maybe like they want to be sponsored, we do.
Because we're not yet, even though that sounded like a little bit of an ad.
It was not an ad. It was us trying to show our abilities. Everything's an audition. Everything.
All right.
Okay, hold on. Delicious. Okay, anyways.
Okay. And you're going to help me with pronunciation, so I'm glad you're going first.
I did do the audiobook, so I may pronounce things wrong, but it's based off of what the audiobooks are pronouncing, so I'm assuming that they did their like pronunciation research. Yeah. Maybe they didn't. I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Step 1. Step 1, read the chapter. Okay.
By the Jose Cuervo. Step 2, pour it in the glass.
Step 3, read Circe. Okay.
All right.
Chapter 1. We begin at Circe's birth, okay? She is the daughter of Helios, who is the god of the sun.
He's the sun.
He's the sun. He is the sun.
Right, because she's always like looking in the sky, like worried that he's looking at her.
I feel like he's the god of the sun.
I don't understand the difference.
Like he determines essentially when the sun rises and sets. Like he brings in the rise and the set.
Okay.
According to this Greek mythology.
All right.
He's also a Titan. He's a god, but he's not like an Olympian god. There's a difference between the Titans and the gods. We'll go into that a little bit.
Okay, because I don't know the difference.
So, so she's a nymph, which is considered a lesser god by lineage. Circe has a difficulty relating to her mother, aunts, and numerous nymph cousins because when she was born and throughout the early stages of her life, she didn't have the powers or any like showing of powers that her parents would have passed on to her. So like Helios's kids sometimes will have an affinity for like, or have the ability to see into the, like prophesize things. Or they'll have like these bright gold eyes and hair. She doesn't have these things. Nymphs can like travel through water and do other water activities, like ski. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But she doesn't have these abilities at all. So she's just seen as like very plain. And when she was born, her father, Helios, does this thing where he, I think, prophesizes what they're going to be. And he says that she's going to marry like, she could marry like a prince of the human lands. And her mother is like not cool with that. Oh. Her mother is a narcissist. And her mother, her name is Circe. And she has an uncanny ability to play her surroundings to her advantage. So she's basically like,
Does that say that in there?
I mean,
She does. I mean, it's clear that she
not,
does.
Yeah, not. I wouldn't say that's like what they didn't say it like.
Oh, okay. Because
directly.
I don't remember the first 2 chapters at all.
Oh. She used this skill to attract the attention of Helios, the god of the sun and a Titan, who I said earlier, who believes that the world's natural order is to please him. He's a dick. And basically what she did is she like peacocked her way over here, right? She's like by the river and she's like peacocking, which is actually more of a male trait, but we're going to apply it to this female situation. And he goes over and he's like, and here's the thing, gods will fuck anything and everything to get anything and everything pregnant. They want their seed planted everywhere across the world. It does not matter. They're not faithful. They don't practice any of that stuff. I don't think they have feelings.
Truly. Literally.
And he was like, you know, do you want to get this thing going? And she's like, you think you're just going to like fuck me and leave? I'm going to be your queen. I'm going to be your woman. I'm going to be like your wife.
Right.
Or like, you don't get this. You don't get this. And he was like, and she goes, you can have any other like people on the side. That's fine. I don't really care. But I'm going to be the one that comes home, that you come home to. I'm going to be the one that's like your woman, like your known woman. And he was like, bet. And then they get married. That was the like interaction word for word.
I love it.
And he was intrigued by the novelty of Perse's demands, so that's why he agreed to be her husband.
Right.
For every child they have together, he gives her a strand of rare amber beads, which Perse flaunts to her sisters. Like, this is like her whole thing. She loves being like the thing. And she has a lot of sisters, by the way.
Right. Yeah.
However, the gods eventually forbid Helios and Perse from having children after Circe explains the other gods discovers what the other 4 are. And they say that in the first chapter, but we don't know what that means yet.
Okay, yeah.
So we do know that she was only allowed to have 4 kids, though. When Circe is born, Perse, which these names are... Circe. I don't know. I think I get them mixed up. When Circe was born, Perse, she's pissed by Helios' predictions that Circe will fetch, at best, a human prince as a suitor.
That's the best she can do, and that's why she's upset.
Yeah. And she's like, I don't like you. Because Perse does not like the mortals.
No, none of the gods do, it feels. Like, a couple.
Yeah, they see them as like a means to an end. They see them as like lesser than a pet.
Yeah.
I don't know how to
explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. They just use them as they want.
As if they were like inanimate objects. As if we use like chairs. Almost.
Yeah.
Like literally stepping stools. Like that's literally. So when Helios gives this prediction of Circe, Perse's like, well, come on, Helios, let's make a better one.
Yeah.
Like minutes after she gave birth, because they heal really fast.
Yeah.
As Circe grows, Perse's distaste for her is obvious. Circe ends up in the care of an aunt who named her Circe after a bird of prey due to the shrillness of her voice. Because she has a really shrill voice and everyone's like, literally stop speaking. You're so annoying.
Yeah.
Like they hate her
That's
voice. How
they treat her the entire time.
But when her aunt leaves, like shortly after, because she sees that Perse like literally doesn't care about her at all. Like she views her as like a leaf in the wind or like just like a maid or something. So she's like, bitch, bye. Circe is left with a vast palace with her emotional absent mother and fucking trash father.
Yeah, they're all trash.
Yeah, it's hard to explain one of them as trash because they all are trash.
It's just different levels.
She learns to find freedom and amusement in her own solitude, though she struggles to escape her like feelings of loneliness. Yeah, which sucks. And as a child, she eventually finds her place at her father's feet and learns to handle the cruelty of her siblings, Pasiphae and Perseus. Pasiphae.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
With quiet avoidance, by the way. That's how and they're mean to her.
Yeah, they are.
Like they literally are like, you're ugly. Your voice is stupid.
Constantly teasing her.
Like they're so mean.
It's hard to read about.
I can't remember which one was born first, Pasiphae or Perseus, but Pasiphae, Helios had a premonition, or like he had basically deemed that she would marry a son of Zeus. And then that Perseus, I can't remember what he said about Perseus, but that he was just like going to be great. Like they both had really good.
Yeah. And then Circe's just like, meh.
Yeah. And so they became their mother's favorite. They're not twins, but they refer to them as twins.
Oh, okay.
If that's because they're so close, like their parents refer to them as like twins. It's very strange.
That is weird.
And they have a very like weird, close relationship, which I guess in the world of the gods is not that weird because they practice incest.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because like they're all related anyway. So they're probably
what are you
going
gonna do?
Anyways, but it's pretty gross.
That's fun.
Mortals seem to arouse her empathy. Like she seems to really get a kick out of that. Out of just like really mortals and their feelings.
She just likes mortals.
She really likes
really
mortals.
Attuned to them.
More so than any of the people around her.
Mm-hmm.
And she shows great interest when a group of astronomers are put to death after Helios will like purposefully ride his chariot late, and it makes them seem like they miscalculated the sun's path.
Helios.
He does it on purpose.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then the kings are like, "You're a terrible astronomer," and then they'll just like chop their heads off, and Helios is like,
when he's just watching from, oh my gosh,
that's insane. And also kind of a boss bitch move.
That's crazy. He just like fucks with them for no reason, just out of his own amusement.
I have to wonder if I was an immortal with that much power, like if it would fuck with my like empathy in any way, like
an immortal,
an immortal, yeah.
Right. That's
way,
why.
like,
That's what I've been
Helios is.
thinking about like this whole time. Like I can't imagine ever just like acting like these people do.
Yeah. Well, but we see bits of it in just like in humans when they get a ton of power, and
Right.
it really tends to like shift
True.
their moral compasses. So I wonder like if there would be some sort of shift in this situation where like, I mean, they're obviously were never humans to begin with, so they have no understanding of what it would mean to be human. So it probably lowers their like that moral compass even more.
That's so interesting.
I mean, they don't even really have a moral compass within each other.
Right.
So it's like
It's so weird.
Chapter 2. News circulates that Circe's uncle Prometheus is supposed to be punished for defying Zeus and giving mankind the gift of fire, which
that was a long time ago.
was a long, long, long time ago. Before all this, the world did not know of any divide among the gods, for only Titans ruled the earth, like way, 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 way before. The Olympians rose to power when the Titan Kronos swallowed his own children due to a prophecy that basically one of his children was going to like defeat him, was going to like eliminate him.
Right.
He had swallowed like 4 children.
So crazy.
His wife, Kronos' wife, managed to trick Kronos and give him like a big rock in the place in the place of her son. When she gave birth to Zeus. Yeah, and then like hid him away. And then Zeus grew up and learned to fight and, you know, whatever. With a thunderbolt and poisonous herbs, Zeus made Kronos cough up all of the children that he had swallowed, and they rose up and rallied alongside Zeus, and it began a battle between the Olympians and the Titans.
Oh, okay.
So kind of crazy.
I have a better understanding now.
Right, but this is crazy though, right? Like,
yeah,
I knew the basics of this story. I just can't. I get confused at who is Zeus's brother and sisters, and then who is his children. I get really confused on that.
Okay.
Zeus emerges victorious, and the Titans were subjugated. Now, let's be clear. When this war happened, Helios and Helios' father, who I'm forgetting his name, I don't know if I didn't write his name down. Through their, and I think a couple other Titans, through their support to Zeus. Whether it was because they have the ability of like prophecy, I don't know. No one really knows. It was speculated by Circe in this book, whatever. But either way, that was a huge like point of turning the tide in the war for them.
Interesting.
With that, Helios and Helios' father were able to keep the power that they had, and the rule over like the sun and like whatever, like they had at that point.
That makes sense.
The other Titans that had joined them, a lot of them lost a big chunk of their power and became like lackeys to the Olympian gods that were then appointed. Like there was a former god of the sea that was a Titan, and he was now lackey to Poseidon, who became god of the sea.
Cool.
So there is a lot of after hundreds of years, the wounds from that great battle still remain, and the Titans see Prometheus as a punishment because Prometheus is a Titan.
Okay.
As a punishment, as a way for Zeus to kind of put them in their place because they know that there's still some sort of like aggravation and aggression from the Titans, because the Titans constantly talk about when are we going to rise up against the Olympians.
Right.
So
I hope that happens. I mean, it's got to, right?
I don't remember.
We'll see.
I don't remember anything of that. I know a lot about the Olympian gods. I do not know anything about the Titans. This part of the story where Titans threw their support to Zeus, literally didn't know about that until
it's all new to me. So
yeah, I was like, what?
Very hard to take in and comprehend.
I was like, who is Helios? This is a name to me. I was so shocked.
Helion, Thigh Lord,
right? The Thigh Lord of the Day Court. This is not my Helion. Okay. Anyway, they gather to discuss whether to come to the defense of Prometheus and possibly restore Titan rule, as they do a lot, by the way.
Okay.
Helion dismisses these ideas, imploring his fellow Titans to accept Zeus's rule as sufficient, at least for now.
Oh.
Maybe a little foreshadowing, we don't know. He points out to the assembly that Prometheus' sentence is fitting for a god who has allowed himself to be brought low by his affection for mortals.
Okay.
The punishment of Prometheus is a spectacle. And they make it, everyone there is there to witness it. They had two separate punishments, one on Olympia. It is Olympia. Okay. All right. That's what I thought. Sorry. Yeah. One on Olympia with the gods, with the Olympian gods. And then they're having one for all the Titan gods as well. Everyone is present to witness the Titan endure numerous rounds of lashings from what is that called? Oh God, I know this too.
An executioner? I have no idea.
No, it was like, it's the same creature that's in Percy Jackson that was like running after Percy Jackson in the first like several episodes. And it was
I'm afraid I won't be much help.
I'm sorry. Okay.
That's okay.
Everyone knows a god like re-heals really fast, kind of like a vampire in any movie ever. It's like literally how they like, it's like
a vampire.
Well, that's like the way I think about it. Like the regeneration of it's just is very quick.
Yeah.
The cells.
Yeah.
But no one has ever seen a god experience a cycle of pain like this. So they think it's very interesting. Like all these other like nymphs and things, like they're like, this is so cool.
Yeah. They don't experience pain.
Yes.
Right?
Exact. Well, no, they experience pain, but
just not to that level.
They don't normally have to experience pain, right? Because they're pretty much, they don't ever like put themselves in situations to have to.
They're just like pain. Literally just like laying on couches, eating and drinking all the time.
Yeah. And fucking. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hours upon hours pass, but even gods cannot watch a whipping for eternity, is what Circe says. So finally the ordeal ends and they go and like have a little after party. They're like,
so much parties.
Literally, they're like, that was fun. Let's go drink. And then Circe feels really bad because Prometheus is in a lot of pain. By the way, this is really cool. Prometheus's blood is gold.
Yeah, that was cool. Cool imagery.
Yeah, which is like sad, but also I wish my blood was gold.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
She approaches him after everyone leaves, and she offers him some nectar and asks about mortals and like why she would endure such a brutal punishment for them, basically. Because it's important to note that when Prometheus did what he didn't like try to run or hide or even deny it. Like he was very much like, I did it.
Yeah.
And she's like, why the fuck would you do that?
Yeah, because you're gonna get punished for that, right?
And he said something along the lines of like you know why, because I think he can see in her like her compassion for humans.
Yeah, her like fascination with him confused me at the beginning, but
yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah. Prometheus says it's best to describe them singling out death as something mortals share. Like that's they all die.
Right, and the gods don't.
And gods don't. This encounter with Prometheus only strengthens Circe's desire to learn more about mortals. Dude, I can't read today. I'm having trouble. There's just too much to read.
It is a lot. It's a huge info dump. The whole book is an info dump.
It's a lot, but it is. I guess it is like it's like what would they talk about? You know, for hundreds of years at a time, she's like not doing anything. She's just like walking along like a beach or like
what is the span? 10,000 years? This book? 1,000 years? Something like that.
Oh shit! I don't actually even know
the whole book.
Damn, go her. I guess.
I can't
wait till we get to Glaukos. Okay.
Yeah.
The next day, Prometheus is gone. Like before she even wakes up and is able to get there. Circe learns that he is now chained to a rocky, like, precipice in the Caucasus.
Of course.
And an eagle comes each day at noon to tear his liver out and eat it.
Yeah, that's horrifying.
It's. I was like, that would suck so bad. Like forever, for eternity.
Yeah, and he doesn't eat or drink. He's just chained up.
Like that's a sentence is forever
so
for
far.
giving humans fire. That's nuts. That seems like a very, very like overreaction.
Yeah, it's a huge overreaction.
Oh my God.
No.
Maybe like 100, 200, maybe 1,000 years. It makes me wonder if Prometheus like had ever had his sentence ended, whether like he would have sought out Circe at some point.
I bet in the second half.
I don't think
happen.
his punishment ever ends.
Oh, so do you think this doesn't deviate from mythology at all? It's all pretty accurate. As far as you know?
I don't know much about Circe. I would say the stuff that I do know doesn't deviate.
Okay.
From what I know from like some of this stuff.
Right. That's interesting.
Circe feels sorry for Prometheus, though she cannot help but listen to every single detail of his bloody fate. And she's just like, that's crazy.
It is crazy.
She's like she's in the gossip. She wonders how such great godly suffering could be caused by fragile mortals and thinks also of the mortals who have experienced suffering and death at the hands of the gods.
Yeah, she's super interested in him.
Yeah. Okay. Circe, her mom, gives birth to a son, Aedes.
Aedes. I think one time I went to go like, do you talk to text and say Aedes and it fit I and then like 80s. 80s, like the number.
Oh.
Aedes.
I thought it was like I ate these.
I ate these. That's so hard to do notes on these.
Yeah, it really is. When Helios offers no prophecy for him, Circe loses interest in the child immediately.
Yeah.
She's like, take him away from me, put him somewhere, like whatever. And Circe's like, oh, I'll take care of him.
Yeah.
And she does. And Circe and Aedes, Circe establishes a deep connection and she begins to feel less alone.
Yeah. It's really sad.
It makes me really sad because she treats him literally like her son.
Mm-hmm.
And she's so sweet to him. Mm-hmm. Anyways, just as prophesized, Pasiphae, every time I see her name, I'm like, oh my God, I have to remember how to pronounce this. Pasiphae, Circe's sister, weds Minos, the eternal son of Zeus, which means that he's immortal, I'm assuming? Because he's an eternal son?
Right.
Immortal?
Yeah, right. They got it right. Yeah, that's my interpretation.
I actually don't know. And they didn't really specify that.
It's really difficult to understand.
So I actually think I'm going to Google that.
I think he is.
I think so. Because why would they have a mortal marry an immortal?
Yeah, that's not cool.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Anyways. Circe is revolted to learn Minos is still immortal despite his...
Do it again.
Turn it off. Turn it off.
Oh no.
Cut the camera.
Wheezing laugh. Oh no. Okay.
That's like the worst feeling. I can't even lie. I don't.
The worst.
I don't see any other podcasts do that. Maybe they're not. Maybe it's because they're not drinking. But like we've done it each of us like 6 times.
I think they just edit well. It's so funny though.
Okay. Son of a.
Like a 5-minute long conversation in the next sentence clears it up.
Clears it up immediately. Son of a bitch. I'm so annoyed.
Okay.
Okay. Perseus revolted to learn Minos is still immortal. Is still amortal despite his divine lineage. So to clear it up,
he's mortal.
He's mortal. So he's not immortal. He's not an eternal son.
That's so confusing. Okay.
It really is. It really is. On the wedding day, Titans, Olympians, and mortals fill Minos' palace. I forget what island they're on, but it's like for that time that they get married, it's like the place to be.
Okay.
Just so you know. Circe pursues the mortals with a great curiosity and finds a group of them huddled together at the end of the hall. Because think about this, right? Like, imagine being mortals and then all of a sudden you're at a wedding and like in the corner is just like all these divine immortal beings.
Yeah.
That are like probably radiating. Like they probably just like
glowing.
Literally.
Yeah.
Dude, they're like all in the corner like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
What are we doing here?
It's like, that would be insane. She hesitates to approach them, remembering the stories from her cousins about the abuses mortals commit against one another. However, she also recognizes that mortals that also carry the weight of their own stories of what happened to those who mixed with gods. Oh, which is interesting.
It is.
So this is a quote: "An ill-timed glance, a foot set in an unpropitious spot, such things could bring down death and woe upon their families for a dozen generations." I think that's a direct quote from the book.
Oh, so, okay. I got it. I follow.
Yeah. Aedes soon arrives and takes Circe to see the Olympians for the first time. I hate Aedes.
He sucks. I wish him dead.
He can't even die. That's the thing that sucks.
Damn it.
He's going to rule his little... Okay. Circe remembers that she'd always taken a particular liking to Athena. However, she finds that Athena is not among the Olympians there. Circe's attention is instead drawn to Daedalus.
Daedalus? Is Daedalus?
Daedalus.
Okay.
Daedalus. 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 I think it's Daedalus.
Okay, Daedalus.
A mortal inventor whom many consider almost equal to a god.
I love Daedalus.
Me too. Aedes reveals to Circe that he is leaving for good. He'll be going because Helios has given him a kingdom. And he is slated to leave after the festivities end.
Okay.
And Circe's like...
After the wedding? Okay.
Yeah. And Circe's taken aback. She's like, please, like, take me with you. And he's like, no.
He's like,
He's like, listen, like, no. And he's so cold to the woman that literally raised him. He's like, no.
Oh.
I think not.
Yeah, Aedes sucks.
He does suck. Circe's other brother, Perseus, soon leaves his father's palace as well, and Circe is left alone all over again, just as she was as a child. Mm-hmm. Which, like, I don't know why you'd be sad that Perseus left. He sucks.
I mean, they all suck. They're all nasty to her. Yeah,
no, they all suck. Aedes is like the nicest, but even so, like, at this point, even I was like, he's not. I don't think he likes her very much.
Yeah, it doesn't show any affection at all.
Yeah. In her despair, she flees to a deserted beach that she and Aedes frequently went to as children. Mm-hmm. Thinking back to Pasiphae's wedding, Circe wishes she had implored one of those mortals to take her as a wife. Mm. She's like, I wish I would have shaken my shit a little bit. Aww. Maybe got a man. Just then, she notices a boat approaching. This is such a struggle for me today.
And it's really hard. It's really hard to... It's a lot going on. I think you did a good job overall because I literally didn't remember anything from the first 3 chapters.
Dude, the first 2 chapters were kind of a struggle.
They're really tough.
It was just like...
I think it gets a little easier.
Very repetitive. Yeah, I don't disagree.
A little easier.
Bit more, yeah.
So Circe knew about ships from paintings and stories. She had never seen one. They were giant and golden and towed by dolphins or nereids. Nereids.
I actually don't know.
I wrote the pronunciation down.
There you go.
Nereids. Which are sea nymphs, and sea nymphs are female spirits of seawater. This one's kind of falling apart. It's kind of shitty, and the sailor can see is mortal. He had long black sea sprayed hair. He has scars and didn't move with an unearthly grace, but he seemed sturdy and strong. And she does like pay a lot of attention to mortals' scars, a lot. But she's afraid of the stories she's heard of mortals ravishing and abusing nymphs. But he didn't look dangerous. And then she's like, anyway, above me in the sky is my father called the watchman. He would come if I was in danger.
No, we wouldn't.
No, right? I don't know why she always believes that.
I know.
So, okay, so that's Helios, who she's talking about. Okay. He's close enough for her to say, "Hail, mortal," and it startles him. He almost drops his fishing nets, but he says, "What goddess do I address?" And she says, "Circe." He has no idea who she is, but plays it off pretty good. And he's like, "Am I trespassing?" And she's like, "Nah. Is that a boat?" I imagine his flappers are gassed, but he says, "Yes, it is."
He was like, just say my flappers.
I know. I didn't have time to go over the notes and make them better.
No, I loved it. I loved it.
But he was like really surprised when she asked if that was a boat. Cause like, yeah, it's a boat. She's like, "I want to try it."
Congratulations, you guys. Idiot.
She's like, "I want to try it out." He's hesitant, but starts to steer toward shore to let her on. But she swims out before he can get in, and she gets on. And then she's like, "Proceed." So funny. They're both being super awkward, and she realized he's afraid of her and reassures him she's not going to hurt him, and please relax. She laughed at him a little bit, and they start to relax. And they made small talk about fish, birds, and his nets. Then he bows down and thanks her for blessing his nets because he caught a lot of fish that day. She thinks that his worship is what the gods in the halls long for, and he must be doing it wrong because she just wants to see his face again.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
She's like already like, this guy's hot.
Yeah, she's infatuated with him.
For sure.
And that was the line that like gave me hope for this book.
I know.
It was. I'm like, okay, maybe something fun is going to happen. She's like, "Please get up. I haven't blessed your nets. I was born from naiads and they only govern fresh water and I lack their small gifts. So I really don't have a lot going on." He asks if he can return and will she be here? And he says, quote, "For I have never known such a wondrous thing in all my life as you." Okay, Glaucos. Oh, she thinks she's never been warm until this moment and tells him yes and yes. And then Glaucos is his name, we learn. Glaucos, right?
Glaucos.
Glaucos.
I love the name. I hate the guy.
They all suck.
But just forewarning, like there's not a good character in this book. I like Circe, okay. She's a little annoying, but everyone else sucks.
Okay.
Except for Daedalus.
Yeah, he was cool. Okay, so Glaucos is his name. He comes every day and they learn about each other and he brings her food and she likes the way he bites olives. And he has a father, a mother, and a sister that has 5 children. So he's got a pretty big family, but they're in danger of losing their house if they can't give their lord the tribute he levied, which I understand to be basically taxes.
Yeah.
So they can't afford.
It's the what is it called from Akatar?
The tithe. It's their
it's
tithe.
The tithe.
That's how I understood it.
100%.
She doesn't understand all of his woes, the poverty, etc., but listens enthusiastically, and he seems enthralled by her. She watches him do daily tasks, including making a fire, and it's new and fun to watch because the people she's used to being around use magic for everything. So she's never seen even this process.
Yeah.
He sees her watching her trying to start a fire with flint, and he's like, "I know I'm ugly to you." And he envies the fact that the gods don't scar, among other things, I imagine, because his skin is all scarred up. Then she tells him about her brother, Iates.
Yo.
And how he's a king now, and he wouldn't let her go with him. And Glaucos calls him a fool. If he had a sister so beautiful and kind, he'd never let her go.
See, it's like...
But he doesn't ever imply that he's, like, romantically attracted to her.
I feel like he does at one point. I feel like he did at one point.
I thought so, too, but then I, like, went back and read it, and I didn't really see... I don't know. Let's keep going. They're hanging out all the time. They brush up against each other, sit close to each other, etc. One day she's watching him make fire again and casually mentions she met Prometheus once. And he's confused and he's like, "But you're my age." And of course she's not. She only looks younger. And this upsets him and he starts to freak out. And then she tried to reassure him that those years meant nothing. She did nothing with him. But he's like, "Oh my God, ew, like how old are you?" Like,
what did he think? She's a god.
Right. Well, who knows? I don't know. I don't understand
I'm
this
so
world at all.
confused at what he was thinking.
She thinks about how she's never told him about her life because, like, in her family and stuff, because it was full of cruelties and sneers at her back. Her mother would constantly berate her about her wit, her appearance, her voice, her singleness. Her father would never say anything when she was doing that. Then she pivots and says, "I'm just kidding. Of course I never met Prometheus. We're definitely the same age." And he seems to believe her and relaxes a little. And she never speaks of her uncle again, Prometheus.
Yeah.
Okay.
The one that gave the fire.
Which is he's utilizing. One day, Glaucus comes late and he doesn't anchor and basically breaks up with her from his boat.
He's like, we can never see each other again. I'm sorry. I'm not actually. Bye.
Yeah, that was the quote.
That was a direct quote.
His family is starving and his father blames him. He says he won't ever come back and sails off. She runs to her grandfather's palace to her grandmother, Tethys.
Yes. Yes.
It's not that important. Who is a great nurse of the world's waters. She begs her to help Glaucus catch fish. She's like, I'll never see him again. Otherwise, I can't do it, but you can. When Circe says she doesn't care that Glaucus has nothing to offer in return, Tethys is like, when we are young, we think ourselves the first to have each feeling in the world. And then she alludes to like a bunch of nymphs coming to her with the same thing.
Yeah.
But Tethys agrees on one condition. You're not allowed to sleep with him because your father wants you with someone better, you know. And she swears, okay, I won't sleep with him. Glaucus comes sailing back so fast he didn't even have to use the nets. The fish just jumped right onto his boat. Their taxes are paid. Their tithe is paid.
Yes.
They have credits for next year.
Tamlin's not coming after him.
I thank God.
Thank God.
He gets down on his knees to thank her, but she's like, no. It was my grandmother. Like, don't thank me. He's like, no, it was you, Circe, miracle, blessing of my life. You have saved me. He wishes he was a god to thank her properly.
Yeah. See, what does that mean? That means that he's trying to
sex her up.
He's trying to lick and suck. Okay, that's what it seems like to me.
That is how I interpreted it the first time around.
Maybe he didn't. Maybe he meant like what? How else could
maybe give her a nice house or something? I don't know.
Like, I just don't know how else he could have meant anything else. Like, I just don't know.
I don't know. She wishes she could give him whales, and he'd never let her go. What? They hang out every day again, and she's like so smitten. They talk of his future dreams of owning his own boat, and she thinks about how inexperienced she is with such things, like with love and stuff. He asks her if her father planned to marry her off, and she's upset that it can't be him because of her oath, and her father wants a prince for her or a king. She goes to her father that night and asks if it's possible to turn a mortal into a god. He says no, unless it's their fate already. She realizes Glaucus will get old and die and panics, and she can't stand the thought, and she runs back to Tethys, her grandmother. She begs for a way to make him immortal, and she says it can't be done. And she said, do you know how many other nymphs before you have asked the same question and ended up disappointed? That's really sad.
Yeah.
Circe says there's nothing, not a trick or a bargain or pharmaca. Pharmaca apparently is an herb that grows from the blood of a fallen god that has wondrous powers. But Tethys gets angry at this and offended. She tells her to leave and never talk of that wickedness again. Is that the first time we hear of pharmaca, or does...
I could have sworn that Circe had asked about it somewhere.
Okay.
It's like,
I feel like it was mentioned in passing.
Yeah, I think she had how did Zeus take down, the Titans? And someone was like, pharmaca.
Okay.
But I could have sworn, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong.
I mean, I think this is not the first time. But pharmaca apparently is an herb that grows from the blood of a fallen god that has wondrous powers. Right,
a fallen Titan, I thought.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was like Kronos's blood or was tears or something.
Oh. She tells her to leave and never talk of that wickedness again. As she walks back, she thinks, I would not just uproot the world, but tear it, burn it, do any evil I could to keep Glaucus by my side. She surmises that her grandmother's reaction to the mention of pharmaca was fear, which means it has greater power than her.
For sure.
She gasses up her uncles that night and asks them to tell stories of great battles.
That's what it was.
Where the god's blood fell thickest.
God damn it. I hate myself. Because this is the same thing. Okay, there we go.
Jumping ahead of yourself.
Yes.
Until she recognizes one place that's not too far from Glaucus's shore. I thought this was going to be the plot of the whole book, but it's just the plot of the next chapter.
Literally so fast.
It happens really fast. She's leading Glaucus on a walk under the pretense of a picnic to where she knows the pharmaca or whatever grows. He's grumpy and hot, but he follows. She's worried about she's being watched by her father in the sky, and he eats the food she brought, and she can't wait to see what he'll look like. She's like, take a nap. Doesn't that sound so nice?
Close your eyes, baby girl.
Yeah, just like,
Close your eyes.
it's going to be so fun. She wants to fuck him after he changes because changing him is a loophole in the bargain she made with her grandmother.
Right.
But he falls asleep and she just throws the flowers around him and blows the scent of them toward him, hoping it'll change him, but it doesn't do anything. And she's not even sure she has the right flower. She begins to cry and grieve over Glaucus someday dying. And it's so severe, she doesn't know when she will stop. Then she gets angry and starts ripping up the flowers and shredding them. And then some ancient knowledge like wakes up inside of her and she knows somehow that the sap of the flower is what she needs. And so she squeezes the sap from the flowers into his sleeping mouth and it works and he begins to change. She says a shadow moved across his skin like a bruise, changing colors, which I thought was really cool imagery.
So cool.
Yeah, until it landed on the deepest sea blue. And when he started changing, I was like, oh no, it's going wrong.
Oh my God, I thought he was changing into a crab. I could have sworn, like the way that it was described, I was
really
like, he's a crab. Oh no.
So his skin is the deepest sea blue. His body is swelling. He grows a long copper green beard. Barnacles are growing on his chest.
Yeah, I was like, he's a crab. Why is he a crab?
Yeah, and she's like so excited. He wakes up and seems excited.
Like, that's so hot.
About his new strength. And there's no scars and he's not tired. Then he's like,
he has no scars, but he has barnacles.
Yeah, on his chest.
So I don't know if that's better, bud.
No, it's not. He sounds horrifying. Then he's like, I can go to the God's Hall with you now, right? Can we go right now? And so she takes him to Tethys.
Like, I can't believe she didn't take her opportunity to fuck him right there. Like,
yeah, she should have.
Come on, but
like,
maybe after.
Yeah, aren't you so excited? Don't you want to try this real quick?
Literally.
So she takes him to Tethys, and Tethys suspects nothing. Circe says he fell asleep in a meadow and woke up like this. Can you believe it? They welcome him with open arms. She introduces him to her whole family. Every time she talks about like her cousins and her uncles and her aunts and stuff, I just picture like them all in a giant cafeteria.
Oh my God. Okay, because deadass, yeah. Like I picture, have you ever seen Day One, I think it is, with Jack Black and like Michael Cera?
Yeah.
Like, remember how they go to the city, like Sodom and Gomorrah or whatever, and they're like in the thing and everyone's dancing. They have the gold statues, like Michael Cera's dress. Okay.
Not really bad.
So that's what I picture.
That's so
And the guy's like rubbing oil on him. Like, that's literally what I picture. If you know, you know. I guess.
That's so funny.
I love that movie. I used to watch the movie all the time.
It is a funny one. They're so excited to hear his story, and he's excited to tell it. What a crazy twist of fate. Circe is already thinking of marrying him.
She's like, what am I going to wear?
And I had a note. I'm so scared where this is going to go. This is chapter 5. We're blowing through plot points.
Literally blowing through it.
But it does. I just read the cover of the book, and it spans thousands of years, this whole book.
Shit. Yeah, that checks out.
Yeah. She introduces him to her father and grandfather and Poseidon, and they make him an underwater palace, I guess. She visits the palace every day, but he's so busy welcoming guests and telling the story of his mortality that he doesn't really pay her a lot of attention. But she doesn't mind because they have a lot of time now. Apparently, Glaucus killed his own father and blessed his mother. And later, she's like, did you really kill your father? He's like, yeah, he was a fucking piece of shit, and he deserved it.
Yeah, this is where I knew it was going to go south.
Yeah.
Because he just like wasn't at all. She was
it's
like, I don't mind waiting here and sitting here and like waiting on you. And he just like couldn't have been bothered by her.
Not at all. Then he spends his days like the old gods that she knows, drinking and lounging and laughing. He's polishing his trident. He's just not the same.
No.
Then he asks what Circe's sister's friend's name is that he had just met, the beautiful one. And she's like, oh, Scylla?
Scylla. And also they're frenemies. They're not really friends.
Right. No.
She's closer to the sister, God. If I don't have the name right in front of me. Pasiphae and Perseus.
Her brother and sister.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, she's really cool. Circe, I've never been so happy. And she's happy too at this moment because she doesn't see through anything. She sees a lot more of Scylla around lately. And Scylla, so sorry.
No, you're good.
And she is beautiful and people give her jewelry all the time and she soaks it all up. And Scylla is constantly showing off her jewelry to Circe. Did I say it right?
Scylla? Okay. I don't think it matters. It just is cracking me up.
Well, I said Skyla up until Thursday.
Skyla. Maybe it is Skyla. I don't really know.
I'm sure there's different interpretations or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, Scylla is constantly showing off her jewelry to Circe, but Circe is like, whatever, yeah, like that's cool. It's pretty cool. She thought Scylla might be in love with her.
That was so funny to me.
She's so silly. But then Scylla's like, Glaucus said he'd empty the sea of all the jewelry if it pleased her, Scylla, and tell Circe he asked her to marry him. And she's like super cunty about it.
Yeah.
And she was like bursting at the seams to get Circe's reaction because like Circe could not have guessed that.
Did you see that coming? Did you see that?
Well, yeah.
Like, okay.
As soon as Glaucus asked about her.
100%.
Yeah, that.
I was like, oh yeah,
point.
that's where she's getting the jewelry.
Yeah.
Like Circe's, she is not witty. Like honestly, if I was her older sister, I'd probably say the same shit.
Yeah, she just doesn't think ahead.
She's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
She doesn't use
common sense or
common sense,
street smart.
She doesn't use critical thinking.
100%.
After this interaction, she runs away so they can't see her cry. She runs to her father, and he laughs when she asks if he'll allow her to marry Glaucus and says, like, it's his choice. Like, and I don't think it'll be you. Sorry. She runs to Glaucus's palace and confronts him. And she's like, do you mean to marry Scylla? And he's like, isn't she just the bee's knees? Like, she's so fucking cool.
She's so
her
pretty.
ankles are so delicate.
Dude,
like, I'm so lucky she likes me.
He did mention her ankles.
They mention ankles a lot.
I love
Circe's
that.
like, yeah, she's beautiful, but she's cruel and she doesn't deserve you. I know someone who would love you more. And he catches on and says, like, you're like a sister to me. But she says she can be more and kisses him, and he does not like that. She's like, I loved you since you were a dumb mortal. And he's like, no, I'm a god. I'll choose the best nymph, and that's Scylla. But she doesn't give up. She's like, I can be the best. I can be loyal. He uses his powers to flick her away back to her rooms. Which, okay.
And she literally, like, when she, because I feel like she's retelling this as if she's like an older Circe. Because there's comments where she's like, he had to have loved me a little bit because he stopped me from embarrassing myself even more. At this time, this is how I felt.
Yeah, and she does jump ahead with people's
stories.
fates. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So I do feel like even like if she is telling this, way far in advance, like she even it looks upon him in some sort of like positive light, which is nuts to me.
Yeah, especially, yeah.
Because like
True.
how she didn't just go full blown evil, even at just this point. Like,
Yeah.
I just don't know.
True.
Like I'll never know.
She cries and cries and thinks Glaucus is his true self and he's not hers. This is the grief that makes our kind choose to be stones and trees rather than flesh, is what she said.
Facts.
Yeah, I would have just like became a stone.
I would have became literally evil.
Just evil.
I don't know what I would have done, but I just would have been evil.
She begins to harbor hateful feelings toward dainty-ankled Scylla, who doesn't even like Glaucus.
And she doesn't, though.
No, she just does it because she knows that Circe likes him.
And he is the big thing right now. Like
True,
everyone's licking his asshole.
In his green fucking weird
in his green beard. Yeah.
Then she acts on these feelings and takes the same herb/flower that turned Glaucus into his true self and squeezes the sap into the pool that Scylla bathes in every day. Consequences be damned. She doesn't care what's going to happen. And she thinks it'll turn Scylla ugly. And it's just further proof of her love for Glaucus. No one came for her. No one came for her like she thought they would. And she was so worried the sap didn't work. So she ran to the feast of the day to look for Scylla because she just had to see what happened. She overhears a convo her aunt is having. She witnessed Scylla in the pool changing. 12 squid legs burst from her stomach. Her skin turned gray and she sprouted 5 new heads with gaping teeth. She was in pain when this was happening, it seems, and the aunt was like relieved when she dove down under the water because she was like screaming her head off. She thought briefly that the people who adored Scylla would be upset and come for her, but they seemed to delight in the story and are amused.
Like everyone's like, good riddance.
Can you believe? Yeah, someone
were
said
like, that girl
riddance.
was a slut. Thank God. Dude, they like, I was shocked by that as well.
Yeah, me too. But then like, that's just like the pattern. Like,
no, you're right. But that's
it is.
No one's like concerned. Like I would have been like,
should we do
am
something?
I going to be turned into a 6-headed
right,
monster?
like how did this happen? Should we look into it?
Should we do anything about it?
They all verbally abuse her. She was a slut. She was always a bitch. Of course, she would She barks. I don't remember what that means. Everyone was there to laugh at Scylla's story. Good riddance, they said. Then Glaucus comes in and they get more excited to tell him what happened. But before anyone could say anything, Helios takes him aside to tell him quietly, and she follows after him. He asks, can this be undone? Helios says, no, but there's a ton of other girls out there. Like, you should try that. You should try moving on. Circe half hoped he would turn toward her and that he would like weep over Scylla. Then Glaucus says, well, that sucks, but there are others. So Thetis is pretty hot. That other girl. He's like, thanks for your counsel, Helios. They walk right past her back to the feast where he laughs at someone's jokes. And this is the last memory she has of his face. So that was the last time she saw him. In the years that followed, he slept with 1,000 nymphs, sired many beloved children that she would sometimes see, but they would never come to shore. So,
because they probably knew that they had like that Circe loved him at one point. I don't know. I feel like they talk about that shit all the time.
Remember Glaucus? He was a piece of shit.
Remember Glaucus? Circe loved him.
Yeah, remember how you loved him?
Do you remember Circe? Do you remember Glaucus? She loved him, and he like
it was like nothing. Okay.
Yeah.
Circe loses hope of being with Glaucus. Good. She thinks of Prometheus and how he was being tortured and how she's not like the other gods. Then her uncle's voice in her head says, you must think, Circe, what would they not do? Next scene, Circe confesses to her father that she's responsible for Scylla. Voices dropped, people turn to look, and she wants their attention. And she tells him the whole story so far, expecting to be whipped or chained up. But he's like, whatever, those flowers have no power. Zeus and I took care of that. She's like, what the fuck? Like, I definitely did that. He's like, no, you had a premonition, and he was changed by fate. She's like, well, no, like, I did that. They're like, foolish girl, don't you think we'd have many more instances of people using the flowers as you did? Which, good point. Even the fish in Scylla's cove are unscathed. Do you really think that if such a power existed, you would be the one to discover it, you dumb fucking bitch?
Yeah.
They laugh at her, and so does her father, but instead of curling up into a ball and crying, she talks back. She's like, you're wrong. Those flowers have power. And he gets mad and takes her breath away. Like, she literally can't breathe. And he's like, dare you contradict me? My dumbest, ugliest, most talentless child can't even pay to marry you off, you dumb bitch. You want me to hate you more? I think I paraphrased.
No, that's like
pretty much like the
like
vibe.
literally word for word.
He's burning her alive. And she asks for forgiveness, and the burning eases up, and she just lays on the floor. The other gods were like, Helios, you have the strangest children. And Helios blames his wife.
Perse. Yeah.
Perse.
Mm-hmm.
I think I interchange
Perseus and Perse.
Yeah.
Perse.
Yeah.
I also agree with that. I do too.
It's another Verity Lowen thing. No, it's not. Okay. She doesn't move for hours as they continue to party. They trickle out, and her father steps over her when he leaves, and she's severely burnt across her whole body. And it'll be dawn soon, so she gets to her feet. She can't go home, and instead somehow goes to the forest where she dreamed of for so long and lies in the moss. And eventually her arm skin at least begins to heal, and she finds the flowers again and thinks wildly she'll eat the sap and see what happens, but she gets scared. She doesn't want to know what her true self would look like. She's found and summoned by an uncle.
I kind of wish she would have eaten them. I bet she would have been someone beautiful.
I mean, but it was also her like will. She changed them into what ultimately she wanted them to change into.
Yeah.
And I don't think that would have happened in that state of mind.
That's fair.
Anyways, she's found and summoned by an uncle. Aeetes is back. He's all grown up now, and all the old love she felt for him like comes rushing back in. But he's like, what the fuck is wrong with your face? Her face is still peeling and charred from the burning. He's there to say it wasn't the fates that had changed Glaucus and Scylla. He says it's his lands. In his lands, he uses pharmaca all the time, and they do all sorts of things. Summon dragons, brewed potions to raise the dead. He says they do come from the blood of gods, but it's also a common flower, and it is a gift to be able to draw out their powers. Pacify. And Crete also does it with poisons. Is it Crete?
It's Crete. It is. Yes, and that is the land that they rule. Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
Minos and
Pacify. Yeah.
And Perseus in Babylon uses it to conjure souls into flesh again. And now Circe can do it too. Then he's like, watch, I'll show you. He opens a vial, touches his face, and says a word, and Circe is completely healed. He's like, wasn't that sick?
He's like, I can do more.
Yeah, wasn't that fucking cool?
That was like the least of my powers. Bitch.
Helios is struck dumb, but he says nothing. Then Aeetes is like, That's the tip of the iceberg. My power comes from the earth and it is not bound by the laws of divinity. So who knows what he could do? Helios seems afraid, but says, yeah, I must take counsel. This is new. You'll both stay here until it's decided what we're going to do.
Mm.
Circe and Aeetes exit the hall. He's so super calm, but this magic has never been seen before, like anywhere by anybody. He's like, what took you so long? I was beginning to think you weren't Pharmacus after all. And that means witch.
That means witch.
This news spreads and people are super shifty around here. He's like, yeah, you'll get used to that behavior. But he seems to fit in with the rest of the gods and drinks and laughs. Alone, she asks him if he likes his kingdom. And he says he loves it. She wishes she could see it, but he doesn't say anything.
He's like, yeah.
She's like, I really wish I could come visit.
Anyways. Well, that was fun over there. He's the worst.
He tells her all sorts of stories. She asks him to teach her the word of power he used to heal her skin, but he says it's not something that can be taught. You either have it or you don't.
Dude, he's gaslight gatekeeping boy bossing her for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean it can't be taught? Like, I mean, everything can be taught. I mean, if she has the power, it should be able to be taught.
Right, and she does.
Right.
We just learned. He knew he could do these things, but had to wait until he was away from their father. They went to Zeus. They want Zeus to see them as threats, but not big enough that he should act.
Right.
He's not scared. These powers are not bound by the usual limits of gods, which does sound scary.
It does.
If I was a god. He says he's the strongest of the four of them, the siblings, but Circe does show some potential when it comes to transformation. She's like, no, it's the flowers. He's like, no, you turn them into what you desired.
Yeah.
You really think Scylla's true self is one of the greatest monsters the world has ever seen?
Yeah.
I think you actually improved her, though. She'll always have a place now, unlike a simple, ugly nymph, which he's talking about her.
Is that what he's saying?
I think so.
I thought he was saying, like, if he were to, like, her true self would have been an uglier version of a nymph.
Oh.
And if she would have been her true self as an ugly nymph,
Scylla's story was more interesting.
Or he's talking about her. I don't know. Because Aeetes sucks.
He does suck.
I wouldn't be surprised if he was talking about her.
I want him dead.
I'm saying.
There needs to be a way.
Literally, I wish. He's the worst.
Her father and uncles talk for 2 nights, and then he comes out and immediately shoots into the sky, Helios. There's a lot of tension waiting for him to come back. Her mother was boasting about her amazing children, of course. Circe was last to discover her powers. Like, of course, Circe would be last. She's like, I'll have 100 more. We'll rule Olympus.
Oh.
She thinks about Glaucus and asks Aeetes if he feasted with the rest of the gods. He says he's actually hiding. Oh, Glaucus is hiding because he's waiting for everyone to forget the truth of how he came by his immortality. Because it's super embarrassing now.
So stupid.
I
just think it's funny because it's like how he still's a god.
Yeah.
I guess he wasn't made by like
it wasn't
a
his
divine.
fate.
Yeah, fair.
Aeetes is sure the Olympians can't do anything to them, but 4 Titan witches does seem like it might be a problem. They're waiting to see what Zeus will do. Could there be a war? Finally, Father comes back and announces Zeus understands their power, but they're not a threat because Perseus lives beyond their borders. Pasiphae, her husband, is a son of Zeus. He won't let her step out of place. Aeetes can stay at his kingdom as long as he agrees to having a supervisor. Each of them swore they didn't go looking for their powers, and instead it came to them by accident, and there was no malice involved. Except Circe. You heard her. She went looking for it. She committed so many treacheries, therefore she is exiled to a deserted island where she can do no harm starting tomorrow. She's stunned into silence, and Aeetes doesn't speak up for her. Then he says, obviously, this is Perse's doing. Perse's doing, so I'm done having kids with her. And then
that was also like one of the Zeus's like
bargaining tools.
Yeah, he's like, you can't have any more tools with her.
And then he makes it seem like it was his
kids.
They are all tools. Oh my god,
it's my id coming out right there.
But then he makes it seem like that was his choice. Which,
I mean, they have the ego of fucking...
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm. It happens a lot. And
100%.
then Perse is like hysterical about it. She's like, no.
She drops to the floor and is like screaming.
Yeah, it's
No.
so funny.
I have to have more children.
This would be funny, like movie, how the dramatics of it.
Oh my God.
She wants to say goodbye, is kind of freaking out, but no one gives a shit. She goes to her room, having no idea what to bring. Aeetes comes in and says, it could have been worse. Zeus wanted it to be worse, but Father said no. He doesn't understand why she confessed her powers when everyone else is happy pretending that they got them by accident.
Yeah, like why did she say that? Like she should have just shut her goddamn mouth.
Well, she confessed and was like waiting to be punished. So obviously she wanted something to happen. I don't know.
Yeah, and she's surprised now that she's being punished.
Right. Then he's like, oh, by the way, I met Glaukos last night. He's a fucking idiot. I hope you choose better next time. And then
he doesn't care.
She thanks him for his counsel. It's like, well, okay, thanks.
It's almost hard to root for how pathetic she is. Like it is.
It is. Yeah, and
she is so.
And this whole time, like this beginning of the book, when she took Aeetes to raise, I thought she was like 16. She had. I think
they grow up faster.
Right, but she was old.
Yeah.
She's older than 16, but she didn't seem like it.
No. Well, she doesn't seem like she's older than, like, her mindset feels like it's 18 years old right now.
It's very childish, yeah.
So it's interesting because, like, even her siblings are way more, like, emotionally and, like, mature. Which is interesting. I mean, they're dicks.
Well, they were more
but
loved.
They also can also see the world. Not Aeetes was, I guess,
he grew up with a lot of love.
Just by her.
Right.
Until he showed potential, and then his father like started to dote on him a bit more.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
It is interesting.
The next day, Helios takes Circe in his chariot to the remote island, and just like literally the second she steps out, he's like,
no goodbye.
Peace, bitch. Good riddance. He like does not care. He's like, bye. Circe feels isolated and she's like very like disoriented almost.
She was worried it was going to be like a desert island or like barren and sunny.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know if I'm going to be sleeping in a tent on the beach. Like, I don't know if I'm going to be like having to make my own log cabin. Like, I don't know what's going to be happening. All I know is how to make a fire based off of Glaukos. So I don't know how to do any of that stuff. I don't know if I'm going to be sleeping in the trees. Anyways. But she knows that no one back in her father's palace is thinking or grieving of her, like because of this exile. They're probably like partying right now. Like they're probably having
celebrating
like a celebratory party. Like Circe's gone. Woo woo. Her mom is like leading the charge. She's the one that made the sign.
The sign.
Goodbye, bitch.
Oh.
I know that makes me sad. There is a nice house on a hilltop in the island that like surrounded by forests with a view of the sea. So it's like,
it sounds nice.
It does sound nice. I picture literally like a small island with just like one hill in the middle.
Like you can see the other side.
Yeah, like quite literally. And it's like just like forests around it. But I don't think that's how it is. Because then when she describes it later, there's like a lot more like hilly stuff. And there's like more like hills and like cliffs.
And maybe like a little mountain.
But I literally just picture just like, just like that's how it is. There's just like her house is sitting on top. Listen, either one would be fine. I wouldn't care. Inside the nice giant house, Circe finds all the comforts she might need. It's a magic house. So basically it self-cleans and it like restocks her cabinets with like oil, wine, and like grain and like fruit.
Yeah, food.
Vegetables.
Everything she needs.
I don't know about meat, but whatever. But it all replenishes itself. And there's like a fireplace. It's like super nice.
It is really nice.
It's got like quite a few bedrooms.
And that part confused me because they fucking hate her. But they're like, here's your exile. It's wonderful.
They do explain that though.
Oh. Which
I also agree because I was like, interesting.
I might have missed it.
She is very aware of her solitude and she feels afraid and unprotected. The first night, she's like freaking out. Mm-hmm. She's kind of like me when I stay at my house without my husband. I'm like, I'm going to get murdered. I'm going to get murdered. I'm going to get murdered. every door, every window is locked. And I'm still like, someone's going to kill me. No, it is. And she's like, there's going to be a giant worm that comes in and just like breaks down my door.
A giant worm.
Shai Halud is going to come down and break my door. Although the forest intimidates Circe, she feels drawn to its lush plant life. She's like, what is this? So on her first morning, she's like, I'm not going to be constrained by this fear. And she goes out and starts exploring. And she begins to feel the benefits of her new freedom. She's like, not scared.
Heck yeah.
Anymore. Not alone, not afraid. She goes over every inch of the island, feeling at home and excited about the potential for her developing powers. Okay, I don't think I wrote it down. But basically the reason that they put her in that house was because it was basically a show to Zeus that like, we are so great, we are so powerful that even the people that we exile lives lavishly.
I love it.
So she's like, oh, of course, just another show of power. Okay.
My bad.
Being alone feels less like a punishment and more like an opportunity for her new life. She experiments with the plants and her witchcraft. She fails again and again and again and again and again, my girl. But she begins to make progress.
Yeah, she had to teach herself.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of failures.
100%. But like, then the successes have got to feel so good. And she's immortal. So it's like, even her failures probably don't, like, even if they're over months, they probably for us would feel like weeks.
Yeah. Or days.
Or days. Yeah.
Or hours.
Agreed. Or hours. She's like, it's practically the first try.
Yeah.
It's been a month and a half.
I've done it already.
It's in 4 months. Yeah. She's excited by the prospect of being able to shape the world around her and reveals for the first time in the intoxicating effects of having powers.
Nice.
I was like, girlfriend, good for you.
Yeah, this part's fun.
She begins with small spells such as turning an acorn into a strawberry, making wilted flowers bloom, keeping flies out of her house. She then progresses to slightly larger acts of witchcraft, transforming animals into different creatures. I think she transformed like a bee into like a frog and like something else into something else. But she noticed that even though she can change the physical form, she cannot transform the minds. So like if she turned a bee into a toad, here we go. It'll still try to fly and sting.
Yeah, he's like trying to get pollen.
Yeah, he's like hopping and crushing the flowers.
Okay.
And he's sobbing in his little.
Oh yeah.
Circe wonders if Scylla essentially like
she's still
lives inside the monster, and if she's like depressed.
Yeah. That's so fucked up.
And she probably is. Let's be honest.
I hope so.
One day when Circe's out, she sees a wild boar.
Well,
she realizes she has the power to not only communicate with, but also control animals.
Oh, yeah.
Because the wild boar does not attack her. It turns away. So she summons a lioness who becomes her faithful companion, which is like the cutest thing.
No, I love the lion. I was hoping that this would, I couldn't remember when she came into the picture.
Yeah, no,
I love the lion.
I love her. Yeah. What was her? I don't think she has a name.
I think she's just her lioness.
Her lioness. Yeah. Circe feels her true self emerging in exile. She wishes the nymphs from her father's palace could see her and tremble. I think at one point she's like, fucking try me, bitch. Like basically, like she's like looking at the sky.
At me now.
She's like, fucking try me. And that was aggressive for her. But anyways, she now understands how her brother was able to face her father so boldly. Her magic makes her brave and eager to demonstrate her power to others. Yeah. And that's literally the moment where she's just like looking at the sky and she's like, fucking shaking these titties. Fuck with me. Find out. Just kidding.
Try me.
Literally try me.
It's so funny.
Okay. Chapter 8. The god Hermes, who is one of my favorite gods, actually, visits looking for a place to hide because he stole something from Apollo, his brother.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, Hermes and Apollo and Artemis are all sons and daughters of Zeus.
Yeah, I think Artemis comes into play later.
Yeah, like very briefly, but I think Apollo and Artemis are twins.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, correct us.
But if I'm remembering correctly. Circe enjoys his company. Hermes is very clever and intelligent, and he's very like charismatic. And he informs her that her voice is basically like the voice of a mortal. which is why it sounds so like meek and like mousy and whatever to them, because God's voices are very
thunderous
and crazy. And he's basically like, humans will hear your voice and they won't be as afraid of you as they will be of us.
Yeah, he's mean to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He tells her that the name of the island that she's on is called Ayaya.
Ayaya.
Ayaya. Ayaya.
Ayaya is what I say.
Oh.
You say it and then I'll adapt.
How it was said in the audiobook was Ayaya.
Ayaya. Okay.
Ayaya. Yeah. I think it is. It's either Ayaya or Ayaya, but I think it's Ayaya.
Ayaya.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Circe recognizes the name and tells Hermes it is a place where her father formed the alliance with Zeus in the war between the Olympians and the Titans. Yeah. So it's like a huge place of significance for their history. Hermes frequents her island a ton.
He likes her.
They basically, I think he
uses her.
They fuck.
Yeah.
Like a lot. Like they become like friends with benefits.
Yeah. That's a good description.
And the thing is like the more that she shows like not disinterest, but like she's not like super crazy about him. She's just kind of like, eh. The more he comes, and she not like comes, but like he'll like go to the island.
Right. And I have that written down somewhere.
Like what?
Like the more. If she's like fawning over him, he'll stay away.
Yeah, 100%.
He like doesn't care. He'll come back.
Yes, 1,000%. Which I feel is very interesting to me.
It is.
He likes the chase.
Yeah,
for sure. He shares gossip with her, including stories about Scylla in her cave out at sea and how she snatches up passing sailors and eats them. She'll eat like 6 at a time, one for like each head, sometimes 12, depending on how long it takes them to go by. Hermes also tells Circe that there is, by the way, her island has like one side of the island that Scylla stays on, not Circe, but Scylla, has like a whirlpool. So if you go to the whirlpool, you're going to have like a shipwreck. But if you go on the other side, you get snatched up by Scylla. So it's like there's no way to pass that island. Should pick a good spot to eat. For sure, without like getting your ass handed to you. Hermes also tells Circe that there is a prophecy that the hero Odysseus of Ithaca will come to Ayaya one day, which is so interesting because I remember it was like a random witch.
Oh, okay.
That he was like, or a random like person. He was like, have you ever heard about Circe, the daughter of Helios? And the person's like, yes, I have. The great hero Odysseus of Ithaca will come to Ayaya one time, one day, and it will be crazy. And there will be hilarity that ensues.
Oh,
no, that's not what she said.
Oh, it's gonna be fun, please.
It will be
fun.
Be lots and lots of fun, tons of it. But Circe doesn't trust this, and I don't know if you have heard of this, but like in high school, did you ever read the Odyssey? Okay,
no,
I don't even remember the story if I'm honest. It's like I can't even like speak to it, but I do remember like Odysseus is something that I did like recognize.
Okay, yeah, I recognize the name, but that's it.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
She guards her words, and her thoughts from him. Knowing the history of the island, Circe waits until she thinks Hermes is not watching before harvesting a flower she calls Molly. It's not Molly. It's not Molly. It's Molly. That has the power of turning away evil. Chapter 9. The ship arrives from, there's a ship that arrives from Daedalus. Shut up. Stop it. It's a lot of
Sorry.
What?
You're like, the ship arrives. Like, we knew there's a ship coming. That's all. I know. It's okay.
Okay, there's a ship that arrives. It's Daedalus. Woohoo. And I love him.
We do.
And he has been sent by pregnant Pasiphae, who wants Circe to come to her aid. Daedalus also reveals that he is a prisoner, basically, of Pasiphae, because she holds something precious to him to prevent him from escaping.
Because he's a sick artist. He like carves really cool things.
Oh yeah, no, he's not like sick.
Oh no,
he's like sick.
It's like yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. I was like, I don't remember him having.
He's a really cool artist.
He's freaking sick.
He's got a cold.
He's got a very severe cold. Circe is suspicious of her sister's motives, but is interested in the chance to see more of the world. Yeah. And by the way, Helios has lifted her
exile for
this
Yeah,
specifically.
that was nice of him.
I know. I was very like nervous about this because I was like, is this a trap?
Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I know.
I have no idea.
Well, just like her leaving, I was like, is Helios trying to give another opportunity to get her like liver pecked out? Like something, you know?
Yeah.
She also learns that they will be passing through the strait where Scylla lives, and that the monster killed and ate 12 of the men on Daedalus's ship on their way to Ayaya.
12.
Yeah, that's what I told you. Sometimes she strikes twice if they don't get out of there fast
Gotta
enough.
hurry up. And Pacify like ordered
that because she's a fucking bitch.
Yeah, she's like, you can't go around. You can't go around. You gotta go through.
Yeah, no, she sucks ass.
She does.
She agrees to go, and on their way, Circe devises a plan to reverse her spell on Scylla. They stop on an island and spend the night, and Circe considers asking Hermes for help, but decides that not only would he refuse, but perhaps it was his plan all along to get her to confront Scylla just for his own entertainment.
Hermes' plan?
Yeah, because Hermes is like totally does stuff just for the plot. Like that's his vibe. Like he really is just like, how do I make the best story out of every situation?
True. Okay, I do remember an instance later.
Circe realizes that no one's coming to her rescue. No one's coming to her aid. She's on her own. And when they are in Scylla's strait, Circe takes on the appearance of her brother Perseus. It's Perseus. And Scylla's former lover. She thinks. She's also just making an assumption here.
Unconfirmed.
Yeah, but they probably were lovers.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
She was a slut.
Yeah.
According to everyone else.
This is what we've heard through the grapevine. The grapevine. She tries to seduce Scylla by saying that she has sailed a year to find her and wants Circe to be punished for transforming Scylla and has a cure. The monster pauses, and Circe throws the potion into Scylla's mouth. It doesn't work. She does not change. However, it does buy the crew enough time to get past the monster without anyone being killed. She's like, a win's a win's a win, a win. A win.
Yeah, that scene was so cool.
It was so cool. Daedalus and the crew bow before the restored Circe, promising their devotion to her, but Circe responds with just like straight anger. And she's like, I'm responsible for making Scylla what she is. I'm responsible for all of this. Like she did it out of pride and jealousy. That's why Circe did it. She admits that the spell she attempted was the strongest that she had, and that Scylla will never be stopped.
Yeah, she's like, why are you thanking me? Like, I don't deserve this.
Yeah, like literally get up or I swear to God, I will turn all of you into toads. And have you hopping around the ship forever. Circe and the sailors reach Crete. And Circe is taken into the room where Pasiphae is in labor. The two sisters have a pointed exchange. Pasiphae, in pain, demands that Daedalus cut the baby out of her, implying he is partly responsible for its existence, which I'll never understand.
No, me either.
What? Circe is to tend to the child after the cutting is done. She's like, well, like, use me. Like, I can figure this out. She's like, no, you're not it. Like, shut up. Daedalus, so the person that reads this, by the way, is reading it in a English accent.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I keep going back there.
Okay, I like it.
Makes sense, yeah. So Daedalus accomplishes this. He cuts open Pasiphae easily. And Pasiphae is like, get the child, Circe. And Circe retrieves the child, handling it with the utmost care. She's like grabbing it by the hand, and she's like, I gotta make sure the head's okay. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. All of a sudden, boom, the little shit clamps down on her hand. And it's painful. And she pulls it out. Circe's, by the way, like screaming in pain. Blood is spurting across the room. Circe has lost like 3 fingers.
Yeah.
The child writhes. Okay, so she pulls it out. The child writhes on the floor and swallows the bitten off flesh and hungers for more. So this fucking child is not an ordinary child, right? It's a creature with horns, sharp teeth, a hairy face, and extraordinary strength, and an insatiable hunger.
Ugh. Fan art.
They name it later.
Yeah.
But if you know anything about Greek mythology, if you've watched or read Percy Jackson, it's the Minotaur.
Yeah, it's the Minotaur. I guess that.
Yeah.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. As Daedalus fetches a cage to store the creature in, Pasiphae warns them not to harm it. She's like, do not let that thing be dead. It needs to live.
Why?
Well, because we'll find out later.
Okay.
Circe turns to her sister to demand an explanation. Pasiphae blames Daedalus, who then explains how the child came to be. The gods sent a pure white bull to bless the kingdom of Minos, but the sacred bull disliked anyone coming near it. So Pasiphae was like, oh my God, I love this bull. This is so great.
So cool.
And so Daedalus built an artificial cow, which the queen could hide inside and approach the creature. Which like
okay.
And it had like a hole in it, right? Out the butt, apparently. I don't know. It's so confusing. The bull eventually had intersex with an artificial cow with Pasiphae inside it, which impregnated Pasiphae with the sacred bull's child. So
she got into the position.
She got into position. Like, I don't know how big this bull is. Like, I don't know if she was like on all fours in the thing.
Right.
Like, I don't really understand. But
it doesn't make any sense.
She was like shaking that ass for the bull. Like, she was really trying to get like, she was doing it on purpose. Okay.
Yeah. She's like, I fucked the sacred bull. All right.
Okay. I fucked it. She did say that too. She's like,
I
fucked it.
It's so funny. I wrote it down.
Dude, that's crazy because like, I think about like, maybe it's not the same for cows. I don't know. But like, I think, have you ever seen a horse's dong?
Mm-hmm. I mean,
it's huge.
Yeah.
Cause like how?
I don't know.
I'm sorry. I just thought about that. I was like,
I don't want to.
My first thing was like, that had to hurt. Okay. Daedalus asks Circe if the creature can be killed. Circe investigates the possibility and begins by exploring Pasiphae's workroom. She discovers all of her sister's rudimentary herbs, like haphazardly prepared, and realizes that though her sister may not be a greater goddess than she is not, or though her sister may be a greater goddess than she is not a greater witch.
Circe is a better witch.
She's
like,
a
what the fuck?
better witch.
These are your herbs? What are you doing in here?
She's like, girlfriend, you need to really be learning better.
This is crazy.
Oh my God. Circe determines that that none of the herbs will help anything that's going on. And the monster is bound to Crete. Circe turns outside of the fields. In the distance, she catches sight of the legendary Mount Dicte. It is said to contain the rarest herbs and the cave where Zeus himself was born and hidden from his devouring father. That's where Zeus's mother stored him.
Okay.
Like, stay here, son. It is also where Artemis roams to hunt, which is a daughter of Zeus.
Artemis lives in Dicte?
She roams there.
Oh, okay.
Circe heads to Mount Dicte. There she touches a pool to find answers and learns that the creature can die, however, not in infancy, and not by Circe or Daedalus's hand. It must live out its destiny, and until then, it could only be contained.
Yeah.
Because once someone has a destiny, they wear it like a chain. Like that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. And doesn't she see how? Like, doesn't she see the person that kills?
She sees that it's like a man, I think, but I don't think she knows exactly who.
Yeah, right. She sees him, but she doesn't recognize him.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is.
Got it.
Circe proceeds to procure herbs to assist in its containment. Circe returns the next day and meets the gentle Ariadne
Ariadne is how I was pronouncing in my head. Ariadne.
Oh God, I don't know. That one was hard. Ariadne. I don't know.
Ariad.
Anyways,
no,
we're just gonna call her Aria.
Yeah, Aria. Perfect.
Because I can't. It's Pasiphae's daughter. When Circe explains to Daedalus the spell she has come up with, which will make the creature docile for 3 seasons until harvest time, when it must feed, Ariadne, reminds them that the creature is still her brother.
She's like,
so?
That's my brother. Like,
you wanted to kill a bunch of humans, you fucking bitch.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
I always thought, like, never mind. Continue.
What? That she was in love with her?
Not in love, but like had some affection for him the way that Circe has affection for mortals.
No, and that's fair. But at the same time, it's like
it's complicated.
It's right. And it's like, you can't just let it like roam free, like whatever. Like it's no big deal.
Yeah, he's disgusting.
Yeah. Circe explains her spell to the king and the queen. And it is clear at this point that their marriage is like not. They need like couples therapy.
Oh, yeah.
Big time. And Circe discovers that her sister desires for the creature to live. Not for love, but for glory. She basically had heard how Artemis was such a good... Aedes. Sorry. She learned how Aedes was such a good witch. And then she heard about like Perseus, who was like literally raising people from the dead. And then she heard about Circe, who literally made like a monster that was like one of the greatest monsters of all time. And she was like, oh, literally everyone forgot about me. What am I supposed to do? So that's when she fucked the bull. And she's like, I'm going to create another monster. That's great. It's going to come out of my own body.
Yeah. And then it's Daedalus's fault, this monster. At dusk, guards took Arya away. Apparently her parents wanted to see her, which doesn't feel good. She gets a room. Circe gets a room to stay the night, and Daedalus comes to get her in the morning.
Sorry, I just think that's all.
I thought you were reacting like, what?
No, I just like...
As they're walking, Circe asks him what happened to the white bull. He tells her it seems to have vanished. The monster is sired. The monster it sired was its last blessing. I don't understand how the Minotaur is a blessing.
No, and I am confused because it's like, who sent the bull? Because obviously whoever sent the bull knew Circe was knew that Pasiphae was looking for something.
Ooh.
To like, whatever. So I feel like maybe it was one of because the gods love their monsters. So I feel like it was one of the gods that sent it.
For sure.
To I was like, hey Circe, here, or hey Pasiphae. Fuck these children.
Quote that.
So I'm done.
They both agree that Arya is different than her family, which feels important. The monster's name is the Minotaur, and they're sending ships out to announce it for some reason. They're like sending ships out to announce to the whole world that the Minotaur is here.
Yeah, because Circe wants the glory.
Minos claims it then, and instead of being a cuckold, he shares in Pasiphae's glory. He becomes the great king who begets monsters and names them after himself. That makes sense. They're like, look, we're in the spotlight again.
Yeah.
They get to their destination, which is a cellar room, and it has bars made of iron and something stronger to contain baby Minotaur. The monster has a baby's body and a bull's head, and it smells like old meat. It's disgusting. It remembers Circe like it wants more of her flesh. She successfully gives it her drought and says her spell, and now he's super tame and rather sweet, and she thinks how Arya called it her brother and how it's just a tool of her sister's, and it'll never know freedom or love or friendship. Which... If it was like always contained and really sweet, okay, but it has to feed every harvest, and it's really horrible.
Well, and also like you have no idea what's going on in that thing's head. Like it literally could be a sociopath. I just feel like it's one thing when you turn something into a monster that like that already knew prior like what the world could be, but like being born a monster, I feel like has to be something different.
Yeah, don't feel sorry for it.
Yeah, especially when it literally ate off 3 of your fucking fingers.
Oh yeah. It's complicated. The spell can't be undone, and they throw the key away until harvest, when they'll cut the bars to get to the monster, because harvest is the season that the beast can't be contained. Circe wants to leave to go back to her island, but she's at Minos's mercy because he has the ships, and the thought of returning feels a little weird. Then Daedalus asks her to eat with him that night after the feast. She does, and she meets him when the moon comes up. At the feast, he says a singer told a tale that the Minotaur fell from a star. She meets, which is like how they were explaining it to the world, how it came to be.
Yeah, what?
She meets.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'd be kind of embarrassing for Pasiphae to be like, I fucked a bull.
And gave birth to it.
That's got to be so embarrassing. To
That is super embarrassing. She meets Daedalus's 4-year-old son, Icarus, who has the sweetest face she has ever seen. And he is apparently Daedalus's secret. That Pasiphae is keeping over him to keep him there.
Yeah.
When she watched Daedalus watching his son, she, for the first time, imagines having children. He tells Circe Icarus's mother died in childbirth and their marriage was arranged by Pasiphae, which is how she was able to keep him in Crete, which I just said. He tells her he'll probably never marry again. He wouldn't make a good husband. And she says, well, I wouldn't make a good wife either. But they are like bonding. They have like some sort of connection going on.
Yeah, they definitely want to fuck.
Yeah. He tells Circe his plans of building the iconic maze to contain the Minotaur. She's like, that's a sick ass plan. Sounds really cool. And she says, sorry, I can't help. And he's like, you've literally helped so much. Like, you're so amazing and beautiful. And they share a look. No one's ever called her beautiful before.
True.
Glaucus didn't. He's interrupted by a nurse. Icarus wants his goodnight kiss. She asks where they'd go if he could escape because they're prisoners. And they're prisoners because Pasiphae likes his craftsmanship. Which is crazy. He's like, Egypt. They're building real cool shit over there. I'd like to see it. She wants to invite him to her island, but instead wishes he'll find Egypt someday. She goes back to her room and can't stop thinking about how Daedalus is how he's innocent and he doesn't deserve his fate. And her sister is a cunt controlling Minos and holding all of Crete in fear. I don't think they ever use cunt in this book.
No, we don't.
Sorry.
No, I love it because she is. She is.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like I use that too freely. Said that to my boss one time.
did you?
I called someone else. I'm like, she was being a cunt. And you just like,
I think you were like, I think in a past life you were Australian.
maybe. I don't know.
I do,
It's
genuinely.
so weird.
Because they use that word like interchangeably.
So casually.
Just like very casually.
Yeah. That's how I use it. Okay.
I use it like that too. I feel like I have more like as a grown up. It's
Right.
a grown up term.
Right. I didn't
I'm
start
just
using it
joking.
until I was 26. Even summoning Circe was a way to regain control with the Minotaur by Pacify. All the while, she can sit back on her couch and laugh and laugh. Circe's like putting this all together. She heads straight to her sister's room. There's spells there, but they don't contain her. She asks over her sleeping body, "Why did you summon me here?" Pacify deflects, saying something about how it's a shame that she can't do the same thing to Scylla.
Oh, she was like, oh, I heard about Scylla. I know you tried to like change her back.
Oh,
But
like
you
it didn't work, you
couldn't.
dummy.
Yeah.
And when she says, you could have summoned Perseus or Aeetes to have done that, Pacify gets a little defensive. Oh, to help with the Minotaur. Pacify gets defensive and angry. It was like, oh, I wish we could talk all night. Like, this is so fun. And she's like, I'm not your dog. All you want to do is humiliate me after I helped you. She scolds Circe and says, I'm surprised you never learned your lesson that you continue to expect rewards for being obedient. Even like Helios treaded against you when you were bowing at his feet. And she tells her Helios and all the rest only care about power and that she does nothing without his word. Pacify does nothing without his word?
Probably both.
Both. Then she says...
More so Circe, because she's very
She's
blindly
exiled.
loyal.
Yeah. True. Okay. Then she says she knew Circe was a witch, thought long ago that she'd cry herself into a stone. But no, you persevered and loathed them like I did. And I think that's where our powers came from. Circe is surprised to learn Pacify hates their family as well. Oh, she's like, how come you could have been friends with me like this whole time? Like, why didn't we connect earlier?
Right.
And Aeetes. And she's like, he hasn't liked a woman his whole life. You think he liked you? And Circe says, Perseus was no different. And Pacify says, do you want to know what I had to do to keep him happy? And this all comes back later. Circe was the only one that she knew would be up for the job. The others cannot bear any pain at all. They're not like us. So I feel like Pacify was trying to connect with her.
I
a
agree.
little bit.
I
And, like-
agree, but she reminds me of like in this world's Nesta. When Nesta
Yeah.
was like not healed. Like that's what she
Yeah.
reminds me of. Is she's just like strike first.
Okay. Well, she's also in a really terrible position and is just doing everything she can to stay like above the water, to not drown.
Well, and but also she is a bitch. Like Pacify
yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
Like she does horrible things. They mentioned how when Minos would sleep with other women, that she had cursed him. So that way, every woman he would sleep with outside of their bed, like out of
Their
wedlock,
marriage,
like it would kill whoever he slept with.
Yeah, and he did
So
it
he
100
killed
times.
over 100 women.
Not understanding what was happening. He just kept doing
We
it.
just kept fucking them. Like
Yeah,
when
no.
everyone's dying.
That's
Like
a
why
lot.
are you still doing
Yeah,
this?
and she
After
did
like
that.
5, I'd be like, what?
Maybe I should stop.
Maybe I shouldn't be doing this. but yeah.
But Circe is sick to think that her and Pacify are alike. Then she basically says she has to make poisons and monsters, otherwise Minos would keep her in chains and breed her senseless. But he doesn't because he knows she'll retaliate before that can happen. She says their father would put her in chains himself if it would help his alliance. He sacrificed Circe to Zeus because she was worth the least. Then she's like, get out. I don't want to see you again. You're good for nothing. So it doesn't end well.
Well, because Circe was like, I don't loathe them the way you do. And Pacify was like disappointed because she thought this was going to be where they bonded.
Right.
And Circe had let her down.
She just had not had those experiences that Pacify had.
Well, I think she did. I just think she views them differently.
She does. And that comes back to
Yeah.
Minos has a ship passing by her island in 4 days, and she'll leave then. She doesn't see her sister again, and she's forbidden from seeing her. Is it her niece, Ariadne?
Ariadne.
Ariadne.
Yeah, Ariadne.
Her and Daedalus canoodle in secret each night. When she leaves, Daedalus is there to see her off, despite maybe facing trouble for it. She got 8 sheep from Minos and Pasiphae, I think, as payment and as a thanks for helping.
She definitely deserved something. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, 8 sheep is what she got. From Daedalus, he gave her a bunch of dyed wools and a loom as a gift, and it was like a beautiful loom.
I don't know what a loom is.
Oh, that's the thing that you like make. So she has like the to make like a wool to thread thing.
Like a weaver?
Yeah,
like a weaving thing?
Yeah, I think that's what the weaver in Akatar
Had a loom.
That's what she was on.
Oh my God, see it like I was
loom,
just like I was confused the whole time. I was like, I know she makes sweaters with it, but I can't picture what the fuck that is.
I don't understand how it works either.
Okay.
She is sad to leave him, but they are both prisoners. They can't be anything, so she just tries to remember his face. She keeps that loom for the rest of her days, and it makes its way into the songs that are sung about her, which is really cool. Daedalus builds the maze. The Minotaur devoured harvest after harvest. Then Daedalus made wings for him and Icarus, and they jumped off a cliff. They were flying toward Africa, but Icarus, a young man now, his wings, he was like having fun and flying, and despite Daedalus's warnings, his wings fell apart and then he drowned. And it all happened really fast.
They melted because he flew too close to the sun.
Oh, that's what happened. Okay.
That's like the whole thing is like, don't be like Icarus flying too close to the sun. And it's so funny because I watched, what's that movie where they...
Taken.
No, Eternals.
Oh.
So Eternals, it's a Marvel movie, and it had like all of these Eternals were like a superhuman powers, and they came to Earth, and they like were fighting off this other race, and blah 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 blah, like the evil things called the Deviants. Well, there was one character, and it was played by Richard Madden, who was also in Game of Thrones.
We always bring it back to Game of Thrones. Don't worry.
It's not my fault. It's not my fault that all these people are in Game of Thrones. Okay. Richard Madden, who plays Robb Stark in Game of Thrones, and his character's name is Icarus. And at the end, a little spoiler to Eternals, he does kill himself, kind of, because he flies into the sun
on purpose.
But like it is like Icarus flying too close to the sun, but literally in the sun. Hermes, you should watch that. It's really good.
I will. I love everything Marvel.
Angelina Jolie is in it.
Interesting. It's a movie?
Gemma Chan is in it. Yeah. Kit Harington is in it. Kit Harington is also
Jon Snow.
Jon Snow.
Yeah, I know that one.
Barry Cogan is in it from Saltburn.
Yeah. He's interesting person.
Salma Hayek is in it.
Interesting.
Angelina Jolie, I think I already said that. It's very good. You should watch it.
I will. Okay, so anyways, Icarus drowned. Hermes had told her this story, and she thought she wishes she had conceived a child with Daedalus and mourned Icarus. Because he did die soon after. She said, quote, "I had no right to claim him, I knew it, but in solitary life, there are rare moments when another soul dips near yours, as stars once a year brush the earth. Such a consolation was he to me." It was kind of sad. It
was very sad.
I didn't cry, though.
No, I didn't either.
Anyways.
She just has like the most tragic story. It's hard to cry over really anything.
I did cry at one part later.
Yeah, fair. Do
you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, 100% I do.
Okay.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know. Like, of course I would cry over it, but I don't know if you would agree. But anyways.
Okay, I guess maybe you'll have to tell me, because there's a part where I definitely teared up.
Okay. They take the long way around home, avoiding Scylla when they return to Ayaya.
Ayaya. Say it fast. Ayaya.
Ayaya. And she goes to plant the plants that she got in Dictee and for the first time felt the true weight of her exile. If her plants died, she couldn't harvest. She thinks about Dictee, which I had to like go back and figure out what that was. It's the mountain. It's the mountain in Crete. How she'll never walk its slopes again, and all the places Hermes told her about she'll never get to see. So she spent her days doing what she wanted, summoning animals, planting, doing whatever spells came to mind, and using Daedalus's loom. She especially likes making the dyes for the clothes she wove. She made small things like hats and scarves and blankets, and a sweater for her lioness.
Yeah.
But in the back of her head, she can't stop thinking about how contained she is in exile. She thinks a lot about her sister's words of witchcraft and their parents. She thinks how she's lived 100 generations and is still just a child to herself,
Yeah.
which makes sense. She thinks about Pasiphae's shock when Circe said she'd never be like her and wondered why it hurt her. Did she expect them to work together, to communicate, to like write letters, to be sisters at last? And then she daydreams about growing up closer to her, and still even in her dreams, Pasiphae is mean to her.
No, that is fair, because, like, what did Pasiphae expect? Like, really, what did she expect?
Well, she was the
Like,
Circe was the only one out of her siblings that could help.
Well, yeah, but, like, she would have had to go back to her exile eventually, so what did she expect?
I don't know.
Like, that, maybe she could have stayed a little longer, sure, but she wasn't going to be able to stay that much longer. She was going to have to go back to her exile. Like, I just don't know what she thought was going to happen.
Me either.
After, like, maybe just having that camaraderie, just, like, having that, like, shared experience.
Sister, yeah.
But, like...
Mm-hmm. Or maybe it's just a glow. I don't know. Oh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Hermes returned, but she starts to get a distaste for him. She cringes away from his touch and gets annoyed at the things she used to like. If I had loved him, he would have been gone, yet my revulsion brought him back and back. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He told her the story of the Minotaur during these times. Pasiphae and Minos, their eldest son, was killed near Athens. The people of Crete were getting tired of feeding their own children to the Minotaur every harvest. So Minos demanded that the king of Athens send 7 youths and 7 maids to feed the monsters payment for their eldest son's life, or else we'll start a war. And so they did. The king agreed, sending his own son, Theseus, along with the others. Ariadne, fell in love with Theseus. She smuggles him a sword and taught him how to get through the labyrinth. And he killed the Minotaur. And when he did, Arya was sad about it. She like cried, but because the Minotaur was dead.
She was like, oh.
And that's kind of sucks.
I think she would have been, it was one of those things
Kinda
where it
my
was like
half-brother.
Double-edged sword. Like
Oh,
if the
yeah.
Minotaur didn't, if Theseus didn't kill the Minotaur,
You would have died.
he would have died. But obviously if he did, like Theseus would live, but the Minotaur was dead. So it's like, you can't really.
Yeah. She wasn't punished for helping Theseus. Theseus?
Mm-hmm.
Or Theseus?
I don't know.
I'm going to say Theseus. Because they fled together. He would have married her, but Hermes said,
Yeah, Hermes' brother.
Dionysus
Yep.
decided he actually wanted Ariadne for himself. He told Theseus to leave her on an island and he would come to claim her, but he was too late. She fell asleep and was killed by Artemis. Hermes had led her to the underworld himself. He said Artemis didn't really say why she killed her, some incomprehensible slight. And Circe's like, what the fuck? She's dead? I'm mad that Ariadne is dead. I didn't think she was that bad of a character.
No, she actually was probably the best in terms of like heart.
Yeah.
I think she probably was the best character.
She was, and it's sad that she had to die.
The good ones always die.
Yeah. She knows, Circe knows her magic is no match against an Olympian, but in that moment, she wants to throw everything she has at Artemis, so she knows what it's like to be truly hunted. Hermes can see she's upset about a mortal's death and chides her for it, and then she's like, get out. She's like, why are you crying over a mortal? Oh, I have a really big quote. Okay, it's probably really good. Okay. Icarus, Daedalus, Ariadne, all gone to those dark fields where hands worked nothing but air, where feet no more touched the earth. If I had been there, I thought, but what would it have changed? It was true what Hermes said. Every moment mortals died, by shipwreck and sword, by wild beasts and wild men, by illness, neglect, and age. It was their fate. As Prometheus had told me, the story that they all shared, no matter how vivid they were in life, no matter how brilliant, no matter the wonders they made, they came to dust and smoke. Meanwhile, every pretty and useless god would go on sucking down the bright air until the stars went dark.
Facts.
I think that's like sums up this entire half of the book so far.
Facts.
And it's like depressing.
It is. I will be honest though, humans can be shitty.
Just as bad. Yeah, they don't go into that really. Well, kind of.
Well,
they do
to
a
be
little bit.
fair though, like I think that there are more humans that have like empathy. I think there are probably more gods that don't.
Yeah.
However, there are not as many gods as there are humans.
Yeah, true.
So,
despite her feelings, she lets Hermes come back because he lifted the weight of her exile. He told her Pasiphae apparently went mad and is in mourning following the Minotaur's death, and she cursed Theseus. But she drank in all the stories about her sister because she was looking for something but didn't quite know yet what. She's forbidden Pasiphae had forbidden Minos from her bed. Her only joy is her youngest daughter, Phaedra. She's digging up the whole mountain searching for new poisons. The curse that Pasiphae put on Minos, because he was a slut, it turned his semen into scorpions and snakes. So when he came, the women would get stung to death from the inside. What a terrible thing.
It's a terrible thing. She should have cursed Minos and
just killed him.
For it to hurt him.
Yeah,
not
just
the
shoot
women.
up backwards. Yeah, it's kind of fucked up. Circe thinks of who these victims are, just totally innocent women, and for what? Petty pleasure and revenge, which is true. She sends Hermes. What?
No, yeah, facts.
She sends Hermes away and feels a weightless joy that she doesn't have to share her world with all that mess going on, and tells her lion she's done even thinking about them. Which, good for you, Circe. The seasons are flying by and it's spring again. A ship is coming toward her. She's not sure what to make of this. She counted 36 men, but says later there were 1,000. Oh, but later 1,000 men claimed to be there, or invented genealogies to trace their blood back. The crew was called the greatest heroes of their generation. There was a heaviness amongst the men. They didn't even greet her when they saw her. A man and a woman come off the ship, and the woman says they came to her for aid. They addressed her as Witch of Ayaya. They came from a great evil and did evil things to escape it, and now they're tainted. Circe can even feel it and smell it. They just want to be cleansed of this evil heaviness that clings to them, and which is called catharsis, the cleansing.
Yeah.
Circe couldn't ask what they did, but could only say yes or no. The man lifts his head, and he's beautiful and super young, and he's got this determination on his face, and so she agrees to help for that reason. The woman is careful to keep her face down. Long story short, she sacrifices a pig while burning herbs and feeds it to them later. But it works. It
was like a piglet. It was a baby.
Yeah, it was
pig.
A 6-month-old pure pig.
Makes me so sad.
It was sad. I don't like when animals die.
No, I don't either.
We need
oh my God.
trigger warning.
Literally.
The woman shows her face finally, and she is a demigod and kin to Circe. She said, "You and my father were close as children. I don't know what he could have told you about his wayward daughter, so that's why she didn't reveal herself."
Her dad is
Aeetes, which is not good. You were yeah. Actually, no.
The man who sucks ass.
Her name is Medea.
Something. One of the two.
I like Medea, which is her niece. Circe feeds them. The man's name is Jason. He's a prince of, which is such a funny name, Jason.
It's just Jason.
He's a prince.
I know. In all this world where there's Circe, Dionysus, I don't know, fucking Ariadne, Jason.
Jason. My husband. Where is this land? Iolcos?
Jason's land?
Yeah.
No idea.
Okay, I'm going to just do my best. Anyways, the man's name is Jason. He's a prince of the kingdom Iolcos, but he needs a golden fleece. It says fleeps. He needs a golden fleece, which is kept by a sorcerer in Colchis, which was Aeetes. So he needs to get this golden fleece from Aeetes.
Yeah, from his land.
Because that's his uncle's price for the throne. When he gets there...
It's such a steep price.
It's so crazy, too. When he gets there,
It's Colchis.
Colchis, okay.
Sorry, I was trying to remember how they pronounced it. This whole time I'm
Colchis.
Colchis.
What are you saying?
No, I was trying to remember how they did it, and it was confusing.
When he got there, he offered Aeetes a fair treasure for the fleece, but he refused. Instead, Aeetes is do these impossible tasks. Medea explains how it would have been impossible at every step because Aeetes designed it that way. But Medea cooked up a simple draft that would help Jason, and he was able to complete these impossible tasks. And Aeetes still didn't hand over the fleece until Jason, he now has to face the deathless dragon that guards it. So Medea makes another drought that puts the dragon to sleep, and then they fled with the treasure, and it worked. He never looked at her or thanked Medea for the help. So Circe is catching this weird vibe between them.
Catching that it's definitely probably more one-sided.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But Jason did marry Medea that night as they were fleeing.
Which is more than Glaucus did for you, okay, Circe?
Stop thinking about him. She hasn't.
I don't actually know.
It's been
if
like
she
100
was,
years.
but it does feel like it was like some sort of comparison to that,
Parallel,
though.
yeah.
Which, like, fair.
Yeah.
For sure, because I think she was catching on to something for sure.
Oh, yeah, she was.
But I definitely think that Jason likes Medea more than Glaucus liked Circe.
Yeah, because he agreed to marry her.
For sure.
And she'll be his queen in Iolcos or whatever, how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. But Circe sees Jason might not want that. She had taken Aeetes' heir with them on the boat as her fling, her younger brother. And hopefully she thought she could exchange him for their safety, but Aeetes was like lost to a killing rage as he was following them. So in a fit of madness, she had Jason kill her brother. She cut the body into pieces, knowing her father would have to find them to give him a proper burial, giving them time to get away. And then when she came out of her fit of madness, the seas were calm. Medea goes to refill Jason's wine and spikes it with something that makes him fall asleep and tells Circe the true story. There was no madness. Love drove her to do those things, to sacrifice her brother. Circe said, like, why'd you do that? He didn't have to die. Like, you could have given yourself up.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That to me was like, you did what to your younger brother?
Yeah. But
Can
she
you
says,
imagine the fear that he must
kid,
have had?
I wonder how old he was.
Oh my God.
Anyways, I don't have to know. But she says Aeetes would have made her watch as he tore Jason limb from limb, and then the whole crew, and then herself. So it wasn't much of a choice, don't you think, Circe?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. None of it's good. Then Medea tells her about the true nature of Aeetes. He basically just torments and tortures men that come to his island in terrible ways. And if he finds me, he'll do the same to me. And Circe's like, that's not the Aeetes that I know. And she said, like, he wouldn't hurt his own child, would he? She scoffs and says, I never had any worth. He said my remarkable sorcery was unremarkable, but the truth is he just didn't want her to take his secrets to her husband or something. I don't know.
He didn't want her to pass it on to like other kingdoms.
Yeah, because he didn't want him to teach people.
Yeah.
Which can be done. Then she remembers Pasiphae's words. Aeetes has never liked a woman in his life.
Yep.
He promised Medea to his brother Perses, which she prayed he didn't want her. Like, please don't want me.
And thank the gods every day that he didn't.
Yeah. Because he sounds really bad. He sounds worse than
like
Aeetes.
the worst.
Yeah. Then she remembers Hermes' story about Perseus' palace of corpses. Then Pasiphae saying, do you know what I had to do to keep him happy? He sounds awful. Circe remembers Aeetes always hating Perseus. But Medea's like, not anymore. They talk of nothing but raising the dead and taking down Olympus. Jason, of course, knows nothing about any of this. Then Medea says they got to leave. Iolcos has an army that even Aeetes can't stand against because they have the goddess Hera fighting with them. So they'll be forced to turn back and she'll be queen with Jason.
That's interesting. Hera is Zeus's wife.
Really?
So that's interesting that I just actually remembered that because I was like, oh, Hera. No, Hera is Zeus's wife.
Okay. And he's on Iolcos. I don't know.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting.
But there was a hint of desperation in her words. Circe says, are you sure Jason wants this as well? Like, he's super young. He can't even begin to understand, like, all that you are. Like, he's immortal. Amortal. Circe tells her it probably won't go down that way. They'll resent you. They'll suspect you. They'll use your witchcraftness against you. Like, they'll never trust you. Like, you're not going to be safe and you'll never find peace.
Facts.
But she promises her to teach her everything she knows. And together, when Aeetes comes for her, they'll turn him away together. Let Jason be a hero. You are a witch with unbound power who answers to none but herself. Medea's like, doesn't like that. She's like, you, like a pathetic exile who stinks of loneliness. Like, why would I want to be entrapped by you? You just want to keep me. I will not sentence myself such a living death. Then Circe was like able to see herself through Medea's eyes, and she's like hurt by what she sees. Then she's like, Jason already flinches from you, and it's been 3 days. Like, what's going to happen in a year when the curse from killing your brother comes back to Iolcos? Like, what's going to happen? Medea's like, that's not going to happen. I swore that crew to secrecy. No, like, no one's going to talk. She's like, are you kidding me? They're going to talk a second they get the chance to.
Literally.
Circe tries her to convince her not to go, and like it's a bad idea, but Medea is blinded by her love for Jason and would fight anyone to keep him, and would fight Circe as well. Jason wakes up and they like leave. It's like the middle of the night. They can't see. They didn't eat anything. They just leave. She watches.
They did eat quite a bit.
Yeah, but did her crew?
No, the crew definitely didn't. You know what's so interesting is like that conversation sucked. It made me sad. But they both were right. Like,
yeah,
they both were right.
I was gonna say, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And the next person would talk, I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
And the next person would talk, I'll be like, oh yeah, there's no good things.
There wasn't like a benefit for either of them.
No, it's all awful. She watches them go on the beach, and then she like closes her eyes, and IAT shows up. Yes, she says Medea was here. She will. Oh, and he says she will pay for her fratricide, which is like the killing of a sibling. I'm sorry for your son's death. Like, I mourn him. And he's like, whatever, send her out. And she only says, I met Daedalus. And he's like, huh? Like, he's been dead for so long. Where's Medea? She's like, she's not here. He's pissed. He's like, let her go. Oh, he's pissed that she did let her go. She's like, you're supposed to keep her from me. All this time, she remembers him as a child and her love for him. She sees his men on the ship. They're mindless. They're not moving. She thinks how, like, she lost him long ago.
And she saw the scars on their arms.
Yeah.
So she knows that, like, the branding that Medea was saying was true. She knows everything that she was saying was true.
Right. She's like, shit, he's gone from me. He threatens her, but she said, you can't do anything here. Good luck with trying to get to Medea. She's just like you. You both have to live with that. And then he leaves with his zombie crew.
Facts.
I want him dead. Just drown.
I do hate him.
What if Scylla got a hold of him?
I hate him so much. I think that like there's nothing that can be done. Like, Aedes is going to be alive forever, but I just wish that the gods don't care, because like he is like a sort of a monster in a way. So like they say that the gods love their monsters because the monsters encourage people to pray to the gods.
That makes sense.
You know, they have like a yo-yo effect of just like giving them like poverty and famine and all these things, and then helping them a little bit to where they feel like they're getting this, and then it's like a cycle of like abuse, like basically is what it is.
Wow, the gods suck. Anyway,
suck.
So now it's winter. Circe can't even find joy in her lioness's new cubs. She wants to talk to Hermes about Jason and Medea, but he stays away when she wants him, so he doesn't show up. Now that Medea named her loneliness, she can't shake it. She reminds herself she helped Prometheus, but it doesn't matter. Like, he's there and she's here. Like, there's nothing can be done. She wants someone to come for time to move faster, but it just doesn't. But someone does come. Someone named Alki.
Honestly, I don't even remember because it was so insignificant to me.
Her name?
Yeah, because like her character was also just kind of...
True. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so someone named Alki comes to serve her. She's standing above her when Circe wakes up from a nap. She says she was sentenced to serve her by her father, who was a minor river lord. Because Circe, disgraced amongst the lesser gods, she still could be like a desirable advantage to those lesser people or whatever. But her crime was falling in love with a mortal. But she resisted everything, and she only spoke to complain about something. So Circe's like, okay, well, fucking go if you don't want to be here. Like, I release you. But she can't. She has to stay like a whole year, which was her sentence. She's like, fine, but if I smell you or feel you or your presence or cause me any trouble, I'll turn you into a worm and feed you to the fish. And she was like, but she obeys, and she like stays away. She never sees her again. Then the world was aware that Ayaya. It's so hard to remember. Then the world was aware that Ayaya was a good place to send difficult daughters. And then like a couple more come. They came to live with her, and now she's like annoyed and asks Hermes to ask Helios for a way to get rid of them. He does, because he likes the game. He likes the drama. And he comes back and says it's only right that his daughter... Helios says it's only right his daughter is served by lesser divinities, and he'll encourage more people to send their daughters to her. Like, this is great for my daughter.
This is so funny.
She threatens to turn the women into rats. Hermes is like, you're so dull. Like, find a use for them. He says, take them to your bed, and like insults them. And Circe like has a rage go through her, and she's like, I'm done with you. I don't want to see you again. He stayed away, but only because...
because he said like nymphs. There's something about nymphs, like they're like hard to catch, but like they don't get away easily or something like that.
Yeah.
Like implying that like
they can't get away.
Because like gods are very well known for being, trigger warning, rapists, sexual assaulters. Mm-hmm. They just don't conform to like any kind of consent.
Mm-hmm.
So nymphs are often
the target of that. And they also, from what I hear, like from what Circe says, like that's just the way that it is. Nymphs, sometimes that happens, and that's just the way that it is.
Right.
So Hermes did stay away, but only because he was bored with her. So fuck him. The nymphs came and went, and she was powerless. Any river god could fill her island, and she could do nothing. She thinks at least it's not their brothers who are here, who would have bragged and fought and hunted down her wolves. Of course not. Sons weren't punished. She goes through the motions of her life, worked at the loom and cared for the animals, but only with like this coldness inside of her. The life of the island moved on without her help. Her lion was alive for 100 years, never having been her life having been extended due to like Circe's divinity. But one day she woke up and the lion was dead. And she tried to bring her back, like with herbs and stuff, but only Aeetes or perhaps Medea could have done that. She built the lioness a funeral pyre, and it took the whole afternoon for her body to burn to ashes. For the first time, the cold underworld of mortals seemed a mercy. At least some part of them lived on. She was utterly lost. This was the moment she felt at last as Medea had told her she was, old and abandoned and alone, spiritless and gray as the rocks themselves. And I don't know why, if like Austin happened to be out of the house when I read this part, and I was just like crying on the couch.
Like, I'm alone.
Not the lion. That's her best friend for 100 years. One day she was singing and making a dye, and someone was lured to it. And she heard a man say, "Is anyone there?" And it ended up being 20 men, and their scarred bodies made her feel something. She's like, oh my gosh, they're a sight for sore eyes for her. There's something to mend. She loves a mortal.
Facts.
They are hungry and lost and ask for help. She tells them you're welcome here. Oh my God, you're so welcome. Come inside. As they're walking inside, they're hoping she'll kill a pig for them, but she ends up feeding them with fish. They eat eagerly and were thankful and kind. And she wishes more would come. She would gladly feed 3 ships a day. It might make her feel like herself again. She thought they were kind because she was a goddess, because they recognized her as a goddess, but one of them calls her sweet. And then she remembers Hermes' words, like, you sound like a mortal, no one will fear you.
Right.
And then she realizes, like, they think she's a mortal. And she's charmed by the idea of being treated as a mortal. They ask her where her husband will be back. We need to thank him. And she's like, oh, I don't have a husband. And they're like, oh, yes, you're too young to be married. Well, where's your father then? And she's like, oh, he's far away. And they're like, an uncle, a brother? We need somebody to thank.
Right.
So she's like, you can thank me. Like, it's just me here. The air in the room changed, and she notices it. She's like, oh my gosh, you guys are out of wine. She went to go refill their wine. And as she does, she puts something in it that will make them sleep with a word, but she doesn't think she'll need to use it. She thinks she's not reading into it wrong or something. She's like, no, they're kind. And then she's like, so tell me your names. And they ask for hers, and she almost sent them to sleep, but instead she has this compulsion to answer. And she said, Circe. It meant nothing to them. And then all 20 of them stood up, and something bad is about to happen. But she tries to convince herself she's wrong. Like, she fed them. They're just they're being kind. Even as the captain of these people walks slowly toward her, she just waits for him to offer her thanks. But instead, he throws her against the wall and puts her arm against her windpipe so she can't speak her sleeping spell. She gets R-worded, and it's short but a horrible and sad scene. And when they're done, she can hear the others saying things like, she better not be dead. It's my turn. And then she speaks another word. The herbs she gave them had another purpose. The captain's rib cage cracks and bulges. She can hear the wet sounds of flesh rupturing and the pops of bones breaking. His nose balloons from his face and his legs shriveled. He screamed and his men screamed with him, and it went on for a long time. As it turns out, she did kill pigs that night after all.
She turned them into pigs.
No.
Yeah, she did.
Wait, what?
She killed them. She turned them into pigs and killed them.
She turned them into pigs? Okay, so.
That night, it turns out she did kill pigs after all.
I thought she just meant pigs, they were pig of men, they were pigs.
She turned them into pigs.
Oh.
What do you think she turned them into?
She just fucking killed them. Oh, she does have a transformation thing.
She transformed them into pigs.
Oh.
And then she slaughtered their asses.
I wonder if she ate them after.
No, sure, maybe.
Did you read on? Do you know?
No, I
I'm
didn't.
just
But like
kidding.
I actually thought that too. I was like, well, maybe she ate them, but I was like, that's cannibalism.
Whatever. She just got
I guess she's not a
R-worded.
human, so she's
Yeah.
actually it's not cannibalism, but it feels like it would be cannibalism.
I didn't catch that pigs. I just was like, oh, they're pigs. You know, they're gross. They're like
It was like a
pigs.
double entendre.
I love it so much. That was a really crazy place to stop for the week.
A crazy place.
I did not see that coming. I mean,
I feel like every
ugh.
chapter it's like a mini story.
It is.
And it always ends crazy. So it's like it's hard to end on a chapter that's like transition, like a transition chapter, because there isn't really a transition.
Right. Every chapter is its own story.
For sure.
Which is a lot. It's really hard to recap. I'm so sorry. But you know, it's an interesting book.
It is. It is interesting.
I just like there's so many terrible characters. I want revenge on them, which I don't think will happen.
I think like Greek mythology is notoriously tragic.
I hope this like it just has a satisfying ending. That's all.
I guess I don't know for sure,
What's
but I
gonna happen?
don't feel like there is because I do feel like it's maybe I guess I don't know, but I just feel like in Greek mythology there's just literally never a like quote unquote satisfying end. It's all very tragic. It sucks.
It's like Game of Thrones.
Facts.
There's no happy endings.
For facts, except for Sansa in the show, but like in general, I guess we don't know the end because it hasn't been written.
True. And it won't be.
No,
Probably.
most likely.
Do you have like a quote that resonated with you?
Probably for me, it was probably like, when Pacify said like, "Do you know what I had to do to keep him happy?" Talking about Perseus.
Yeah.
Because I think that was a big moment.
That was a big
for
reveal.
Me. Yeah, it was a big reveal of just like not everything is what it seems on the surface. Even like a relationship that looks so close, like, or even maybe like he's never liked a woman a day in his life. Talking about I-80s,
That was
felt
a good part.
and it felt confirming of how I felt of I-80s for a long time.
Yeah.
Reading the book.
Yeah.
Just things like that. It just for me showed like the lesson that Circe was learning, that like she takes everything for face value, and not necessarily like using her critical thinking skills.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing a different side of the character than she is telling herself that she's experiencing.
100%.
Which is interesting. Mine was the quote about Daedalus where she's like, "Such a consolation was he to me," which I thought was really sweet.
Yeah, I love Daedalus. He was
gone too soon.
He didn't deserve his end. No. He didn't deserve his. Well, he died old. I mean, he did. He like lived a full life.
He was escaping.
But at the same time, like, it just makes me sad that he lost the one thing that he treasured so hard and tried not to lose, and like imprisoned himself for so long not to lose. You know?
Sad ending. Sad story.
Fox.
I thought I said ox.
Fox.
Who would you be? This was such a tough one.
Probably Ariadne.
That's who I picked. She was like, she was dancing.
For sure, but at the same time, it's just like meeting because I feel like I have a soft heart. So like I probably would have done some shit like give Theseus, a sword. Loved my brother though, still regardless, and then also like died too soon. You know, she really had a tragic situation. But yeah, I feel like that would be who I would be.
Who would you want to be?
Literally none of them.
Truly, I was like,
not one of them.
Do you want to be any man?
They're I mean, a man would be great. I mean,
they're either terrible people or in a terrible situation.
Factual. I feel. I don't know.
The women are all treated awful.
Maybe Hera. Zeus's wife.
So we don't know a lot what's going on there.
No, and and Hera does not have the best life, but also she's Zeus's wife, so she's gonna get backed up by like the top dog.
Yeah.
So Hera.
I picked the lioness.
Oh God, that's such a good one.
She had a good life.
She did.
with
Maybe
her
like,
friends.
yeah, I guess any animal on Ayaya would probably
Except for the
be
ones that got
decent.
sacrificed.
Yeah, no, maybe like anything like the wolves or the lions.
Yeah.
But God, yeah, no.
No, every other character kind of sucks. I'm interested in Scylla.
I'm interested in Hermes. He fucks.
He fucks.
Um,
Okay, wait. So favorite character / most interesting character.
dude, you know what's so interesting is like I find so many of the characters interesting, even if I don't find them good. Even
Yeah.
if I don't find them like
Right. They're
morally
not favorite.
strong. Like I find Aedes' story so interesting. I find Pasiphae's story, like her whole story, is so interesting. I find like I want to know what's going on with Perseus. It's so interesting to me. I don't really care super much about what's going on with Helios and per se. But like,
fuck them.
maybe Glaucus. How Glaucus is
what is he
holding up.
doing? He's just in his palace.
What's up with
fucking
him?
1,000 nymphs.
Right, Scylla's story is interesting. Did you say favorite character? Is that what we were saying?
A favorite / most interesting.
What do you think?
I was interested in Scylla at first, just because like the way that initially they described how she was like turned with like the 12 tentacles and the 5 heads. I'm like, I can't even picture that. And I tried putting it into like AI, and it didn't it gave me like really weird things.
Did you Google it?
No. But then the way that she described it when they were going through her strait to get to Crete, like it was so good. I'm like, oh, I can picture it now, kind of. But yeah, so her story was cool. But Pasiphae, I want to know. I want to know more about her because obviously she's like has a lot of control over Minos, kind of, but at the same time, she doesn't. And she's like fighting every day to like be on top.
Yeah, I could see Pasiphae. I'll be honest, I'm gonna stick to it. I hate Aedes, but I would really like to know more about him. No, Perseus is not my favorite.
Because we don't know what's going on with him, and he sounds awful.
Crazy awful, but it also sounds like the stories would be insanity.
Yeah, like what is going on? He's just like casually raising the dead. They're like, it's
casually.
Fine. He has his own place. It's like it's totally fine. It's
craziness.
What's that movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and
Titanic?
Why can't I find it? No,
is it not it?
No, the one where it's like the Manson murders. The Manson family murders.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Okay. So you know how it ends is like different from history.
Yes.
I hope that's what happens here. It just ends different. I want something different to happen, even though I don't know what's going to happen. I think I just want to be shocked.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
It'd be fun.
Whatever happens is going to be a surprise to me because I've never heard of Circe in my life.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. Me either, because I've the least education on Greek mythology. Daedalus was also I loved him. He was a good character.
I like all the humans that are interesting, but it's like their lives are so short in comparison to all of the gods. So we're in the gods' lives, so it's so hard to
There's such tiny
be
little
interested
snippets,
in this,
and then it's
such
over.
a small snippet.
Yeah, it is tough. Least favorite character.
It's gotta be I truly hate Aedes.
Yeah, I picked Aedes.
He's so interesting, but he's also like, I just think I can't get over the fact that like literally he would have been probably nothing without.
Yeah, he probably would have been thrown over a cliff and just discarded.
Just like discarded in like the depths of nothing. And Circe really like was there for him and gave him love and allowed that like growth. In him, and like he just turned on her like she was a stupid bitch and just pisses me off.
Yeah, and she didn't like see that fully until the last time she saw him when he was looking for Medea.
Yeah, she's like, I think I lost him. I was like, I don't ever think you had him.
No, you never did. You never did.
Yeah.
He's never liked a woman in his life. Fuck him.
Is that it?
Yeah, I think so.
For shit balls.
That's all I got. I can't wait to be over with this. No, this book is just so widely different than what I'm usually reading.
It's so widely different. It's like if I were to read a book about golfing and golfing. No, and I like Greek mythology. It is just such a different pace. I find myself liking more of a fantasy, like romance, hopeful-ish book, which
Right.
I don't mind the switch up. It's just, oh my God, it's stark opposite than what we've been doing.
Yeah, and it is so tragic. And when I saw this book, I was like, oh, it's going to be Greek mythology, which is like tough to understand. There's a lot going on. Like it's going to be easier to follow and it's going to be like a little different, but it's not. It's like what I was afraid of.
It is.
But it is still interesting and I like it. So
it
far.
is very interesting.
Yeah.
It is. I just think I'm just not used to the pace of Greek mythology and like
so fast. Yeah. I was like, oh, the whole plot is we're going to be getting this herb and feeding it to Glaucos.
And it's like there isn't even like one plot.
Happened in the next paragraph.
Remember you texted me and you were like, okay, I think I got a plot now.
I was so wrong.
And you did not have a plot.
So
like, we had like
embarrassed.
a plot of a chapter.
Yeah, like literally just a couple paragraphs.
Oh God. There really isn't like an overall plot. Like
it's
it
just
really
her life.
isn't.
Yeah.
It's just literally, it's like an autobiography.
A coming of age for Circe.
What is that called when someone writes a bit like a biography?
An autobiography.
A biopic.
Yeah.
Biography.
What?
I'm a little drunk if I'm honest.
We're almost done. Okay, so next week we're finishing up Circe and then we can move on.
And we'll move on to, do you want to just say it? We're going to do 1, 2, 3. Bridgerton.
A little mini Bridgerton era. How many books are in the series?
I don't know. I think there's got to be like 8 or 9. There's a lot. Like it's one for each sibling. And I don't remember how many Bridgertons there are, but there's a fucking ton of Bridgertons. But we're doing the first 4 in honor of the new season that's supposed to be coming out. But we wanted to do 4 because even though there's only 3 seasons, because they skipped book 3 to skip right to Colin and Penelope's book,
which is what they're covering in season 3.
In season 3, but book 3 is supposed to be Benedict's book. Not chapter, book. But they skipped that. So we're just going to read it anyway because that's more than likely what the next season is going to be anyways.
Cool.
So it's like, we'll just fucking do it.
So yeah, and with our timing, that 4th book we'll be covering like right when the show is like airing on Netflix. So
the second episode of the show. Yeah.
So that's fun. And then after that, yet to be decided.
Yeah. So please let us know what you want us to cover.
Yeah, we're open.
Right now, we're just kind of going through what we feel, but we want to do what like most of our readers like and what they're into. So please let us know. Yes. Email us at litlibationspodcast@gmail.com, or you can let us know on our TikTok.
I mean, you can just Google search Lit Libations Podcast. It'll come up. We're kind of viral. We had one video that did a little well.
It's at lit.libations.podc on TikTok, and feel free to comment like any books that you'd like to see us be reading.
Yeah, next. Comment or DM us on TikTok.
Right.
Or email or Instagram, whatever.
Whatever floats your noodles.
Go join the Facebook group.
Oh,
Lit Libations Lounge.
Lit Libations Lounge. We be lounging in that group.
Yeah, it's like totally chill. It's like super chill. There's no drama. There's only like 6 of us.
It's like literally no drama. There's 6 of us now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right. If you're enjoying this podcast, please go rate and review 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It helps people find us so we can grow and get better. And I think we have gotten a couple reviews in the past few weeks, and it has helped, I think. So
I agree.
Thank you, and go write a review if you love us.
Yep.
Yeah. If you fan art for this, I only want Scylla. I want Circe's house on Ayaya.
Ayaya.
Or like her.
I want just like the island of Ayaya.
Yeah. Just like make it bigger than just like whoop.
Yeah, just house. Like not just like a little hill.
Put it in our heads.
Oh, I want the lioness.
Yeah, me too. In her little purple sweater.
Circe and the lioness in her purple sweater.
I love it. I don't want any fanfic of this.
I want the Minotaur too, to be honest.
Fanfic? Oh, I want the baby Minotaur. Yeah, when he's like born, he's like
he looks like a toddler body and a Minotaur face.
Disgusting, and he smells like rotten meat.
Gross.
Draw it. Anyways, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, that's it.
Love it.
All right.
That's it.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you. And I hope you're excited for Bridgerton because we are.
I'm so excited for Bridgerton.
I know you were more excited than I, but I'm excited to go into like a calming era. I think it'll be fun.
It'll be so calming, except it won't be because I'm going to make it insane.
Good.
I'm so excited.
Okay. All right.
I'll be like, fuck them, fuck this, fuck
Really?
that. Also, Daphne, ooh, she's my bitch.
I don't know anything about Bridgerton, so I'm excited.
Have you watched this series?
I watched a couple episodes of like the first season.
I think what we need to do, and let us know actually really quick, if you want us to watch the series and kind of do some comparison as well with the book, I think we should do that.
Okay. Maybe we could do that and make it bonus content.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Love it.
All right.
All right. Peace out, home slices.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Love you all.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.